Yeah, you know. You down with A.I.P? Yeah, you know me. Anything is possible to creed. The key on the mic, I'm the truth, no fantasy. Podcast flow, old school vibe guaranteed. A.I.P, every listener knows. Breaking barriers, smashing the foes. Convos deeper than a philosopher's prose. We planting seeds, watch how it grows. Jumped on the beat like a classic cassette. Late night talk, the vibe you won't forget. Dropping wisdom gems, the grind is set. Every story told, ain't no limits met. You open the mind, the world opens wide. On this podcast, real thoughts collide. From the cooks in the kitchen to the suits we chide. Dreams get bigger when the truth's applied. Sip on success like it's poured in a mug. Real talk, no BS, no need for a shrug. In your ear like an anthem, snug as a hug. Tune in, feel the buzz, plug after plug. A.I.P, every listener knows. Breaking barriers, smashing the foes. Convos deeper than a philosopher's prose. We planting seeds, watch how it grows. A.I.P, every listener knows. Breaking barriers, smashing the foes. Convos deeper than a philosopher's prose. We planting seeds, watch how it grows. 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 Watch how it grows.
Don't want no shackles. Don't want no shackles on me. Don't want no shackles. Don't want no shackles on me. I sat down with Big Brother. Don't like those RFIDs. Got the blues about my freedom. Got the blues about tyranny. I got the blues about my freedom. Got the blues about tyranny. I sat down with Big Brother and the national ID. Don't want a chip in my wallet, chip in my car. And if I want to travel, it's nobody's business how far. Don't want no shackles. Don't want no shackles on me.
All you ever hear about in this country is our differences. It's all they ever talk about. Politicians and the media always pushing the things that separate us, things that make us different. That's the way the ruling class operates in any society. They divide the rest of the people. They keep the lower and the middle classes fighting with each other so that they, the rich, can run off with all the fucking money. Fairly simple thing. Fairly simple thing happens to work. Anything that's different about us, you know that's what they're pushing at you. Racial differences, religious, ethnic, national backgrounds, jobs, income, education, social status, sexuality, anything they can do to keep us fighting with each other so that they can keep going to the bank.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club.
Keep it home, baby.
Welcome everybody back to the A.I.P channel where anything is possible, and tonight we have brother Scott Helmer here with us. He's going to musician, conspiracy theorist, or truth seeker really. Conspiracy theorist is kind of a bad word, but critical thinker, and really appreciate him being here tonight, and hopefully y'all enjoy. How you doing tonight, sir?
Ricky, I have no audio from you.
Uh-oh, there we go again. Can you, let's see, mine shows I'm playing. Chat, can you hear me? God bless. That's so interesting. We just had it working. If you're not, Okay, so chat's got us both. What's up, chat? What's up? Knights
Still
of the
no audio, brother.
huh?
I can
Knights
see
of
your VU working, but I'm not hearing anything from you.
okay. Hmm. We're working on it, chat.
I can
Give
see
us a
you
second.
talking, but I'm not hearing anything. You hear me?
Yes, sir.
I got nothing from you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the internet gremlins are running wild. And I've checked all my settings. I haven't touched anything.
That's crazy. That's crazy. We just done this. He just went through there.
And I see
so-
your little VU meter working there, but I'm
Yeah.
not hearing anything. Do we have to restart, relaunch, retake off?
Um.
That could be disastrous.
Let's see.
I have no muting on my end. I'm just not getting your audio.
Understand.
But I heard the pregame. Good. I heard all those good tunes. I heard George Carlin on the mic. I heard all of that stuff, and then it went dark when we went live.
That's crazy. That is crazy. I don't know what I can do. We've been teleported. Yeah, y'all been teleported over here with us. I don't know.
And you've still got me, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're just going to have to talk to your listeners and viewers this evening. I'll just have to jump in the chat.
We can't do that. There's a. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know how to say it.
I could probably leave and come back, couldn't I? Want to try that? Let's do it.
Nah, he's gonna leave and come back. Hopefully that'll work. Having Rumble and stuff take off smoothly and everything take off smoothly, and of course we're gonna have stuff. Appreciate y'all being here. I appreciate y'all came over from the Angry Tiger and Knights of the Storm. Much love to y'all. We're gonna get started in just a second. As soon as he pops back up, I don't know what in the world. And let's see, we'll get him back over here. Appreciate you. Appreciate y'all being here. We're gonna have a good one. There he is, right there. Let's see if we can get this back going.
There.
All right.
Oh, I can hear you now, my friend.
Yay!
Can you hear me? Thumbs up. We're good.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Are we live again, or we need to relaunch the
Oh
mothership?
no, we are live, and we never stop being live. We're here.
Hello, America. Welcome.
We are here. We had Knights of the Storm actually raided our chat, so they're here. And
Welcome to that.
Tiger.
They're up late tonight, man.
Yeah, they're up late, so they usually try to hang out with me on Wednesday. So
Nice. That's a
we
good
got
crew
Angry
over there.
Tiger here. What's up, brother? What's up?
Cheers to
Frank?
the whole crew at Knights of the Storm.
Oh yeah, some good people over there.
I'm not going to touch anything on my screen. I'm just going to roll with this.
I understand. It's just I don't know. It happens. I don't know. It just happens.
You know,
But
like they say, they
I'm-
allegedly could put a man on the moon, but they can't get a computer or a phone signal working. And we know they didn't put a man on the moon.
Oh, for sure. I was looking at a video today showing NASA trucks in Greenland, like they're doing picture of Mars and stuff. But all right, here we go. We can just go boop back up and punt. But yeah, here we go. We got Scott Helmer here for us tonight, a musician, critical thinker, and he has amazing stories. So we appreciate everybody being here, and hopefully, yeah, I think it's going to be a good night. Scott, tell the people about yourself, the ones that don't know.
Man, thanks for having me, Ricky. I really appreciate it. And thanks for everybody that's tuning in. Before we get started, you got to tell me what's going on the backdrop there on the wall. What is happening there? That is cool. You got good lighting there. It's way better than mine. I'm here on the bus on the road here, but yours is looking good. What are we looking at on the wall there?
I got a bunch of African masks and stuff. I can zoom it in.
Are they symbolic of anything? Any special stories behind those?
I just started collecting them one day, and yeah, it's like this big one right here. I was kind of sitting there. The one right behind me. I went to antique store and I was like, man, the thing was like, hey, kind of like, hey, I don't need to be cool to have that mask or whatever. And
It was
I went up,
speaking to you.
it was speaking to me, and they're like, I took it up front, and they're like $30. I was like, $30, I will take this home, no problem.
Sold.
And then I was turned into now I train MMA fighters, and I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and I have a gym and stuff like that. And so when I go out of town for fights now, I've had my new. I go to antique stores or thrift stores and kind of walk around, just check out the town a little bit. And then so I go around and I find masks at different places around the country wherever I go for that. And
I
now
knew
you got a couple
somebody that used to
boomerangs.
drive for Charlie Watts when he toured around the country with the Stones. And any town he went to, you know, they would fly in if they're playing like Phoenix, for example, at the big stadium. They might be in town for like 4 or 5 days, maybe a week, and they always stay at Ritz-Carlton's. So they could be an hour away from the venue, and then they chopper them in or drive them in for whenever they have to be down there. But his whole thing he would want to go to all the antique and thrift stores in the town that he was in. That's all he would do. He'd have dinner and stuff, but then he'd go antiquing and thrifting. So you got that in common with Charlie Watts there.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's my new hobby. Everywhere I go, I got to make sure I go to a couple antique stores and just check them out. I went to one up in Minneapolis. It was 4 stories. Third one was just all like antique Chinese, like big, statues and stuff. It was amazing. And
Well, you got to
so
get Paul Stobbs on from the Nephilim Look Like Clowns from Understanding Conspiracy YouTube channel. Shout out to Paul. He did the whole book on how potentially the Nephilim that we see are pulled from the Rakshasa demons and all the masks and all the stuff they use in their ceremonies. He'd be a good guy to bring on for that, talking about that.
oh
I
yeah,
thought
yeah,
they were skateboards because I've got you on a little screen on my computer and I'm not touching anything. I
yeah,
thought you were maybe doing like pro skateboarding or stuff, but now I exactly see what they are. I like that.
yeah. It's yes. People's at first when they glanced at it because I got it kind of zoomed out, but I just want to make sure they're all in sight and stuff and for people to see. And I don't know. It's been fun because it gets people's attention. Every time they kind of zoom in on, wait a minute. I go on other people's shows or something like that, and I chat's like, what in the hell's behind him? What is that? And so
Late
it
at
kind of
night
gets
when you turn the lights off and it's just you chilling out, they ever make noises or talk to you or see some eyeballs moving in those things?
no, not yet. In my
Thank
old
God.
house, I used to I hear noises and stuff, so I don't know if they brought and I
Could
actually
be bringing you
record
good protection.
maybe so. I did record an EMP at my old house, and where he was sitting there, and like something came up right beside me, and like said hey, and freaked me out.
You ever
Um,
play that on the show?
I have. I I chopped it out and put it in a short, put it on my channel and stuff, and then I played it before on the show, and
You think it was legit or you're just picking up like walkie talkies from the guys down the street or something?
I don't know. Anything's possible for sure, as it says, but but
Nice.
it's just like hey, and if it did come to mic, that means it had to be really close because this mic's pretty good. It's a decent little mic, and you got to be pretty close to it for it to actually have a good sound, and it was almost as loud as I am right now, saying hey, it was like, and I'm sitting there thinking, I was like, man, maybe I said it. No, I was like, my mouth's not even moving. There's no reason for me to
Could
say
have
hey
been
at
one of
this
those
point.
masks talking to you from backstage there.
Could have been.
On
It could
my
have
old
been.
radio show, I interviewed Grant from Ghost Hunters, and I had a couple. I had Dustin and a couple of the other guys from that show on there, and they talked about some very specific places they would never go. I was on tour one time, and there's a place called the Villisca Axe Murder House in Iowa. Not to completely change gears here,
Oh,
and I
you're
remember
good.
you can stay in it, and if people know about that story or Google it, it is gruesome and has a big connection potentially with a nationwide serial killer. And it's like 120, 150 years old or something like that. That story is, I think, don't quote me on the year and beat me up, but it was a long time ago. But I remember texting Dustin Perry from Ghost Hunters. We kept in touch, and he said, because you could stay in the house. So you could pull into that little town in Iowa, middle of nowhere. I think I was playing the Surf Ballroom or Clarinda, Iowa. I was on tour, and I said, hey, I got a night off. Should I stay in this thing? And he goes, I would not stay in that house. He goes, that was one of the shows we filmed, and I would never go back to that place again. So
Oh
put that in
wow.
your memory banks.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. No, like I said before, right before we take out, we can go anywhere. It's we've always been um, no script and real ADD kind of
All good.
kind of
There's the other
wherever
kitty cat I
direction and
saw
what
running
and so
around there.
yeah, and somewhere it'll pull it all back together. You know,
It's all
so
connected, man. It's all connected.
it is. It really is.
So you had asked about me. So, my deal is I'm a singer, songwriter, touring musician, lifetime conspiracy theorist and researcher. I've always wanted to know what the hell is going on in our world. I knew very early on that it wasn't what they were telling us, right? So I've had a love, and now it's really like, it turned into an obsession because I want to know what's going on. And once you see that things are not what they tell you, you just keep going and going down the road, down that rabbit hole, as they say. I hate the term conspiracy theorist because these aren't theories most of the time. It's fact, and that's becoming more and more prevalent. There's so many people I run into that just maybe the term awakened that something's not right in our world, to the point where it affects their livelihood, their health, their relationships with other people. And that just happened, I think, in the last couple of years with the pandemic for a lot of people, maybe the majority of people. So we got people all around us in different levels of awakeness or just awareness that something's not right. So it's a wild west out there, man. Like I think we said before we came on, there's people right now, depending on where they are in the country, that are tuning into their MSM, MK Ultra, Monarch programming news channel of choice, Mockingbird Media, Hannity, CNN, whoever the hell it is. They're all lying to you, but they think they're going to tune in tonight and get the answers and get the marching orders that everything's going to be okay. And I hope more and more people are realizing that's not the case and those people are lying to them, but they're still out there. And I think that maybe that's the majority. But yeah, lifetime search for me to find out what's going on. And, with any of that stuff, the more you learn, the less you know. But there's so many things that are happening right now. It feels like there's a quickening like never before. You used to be able to listen to these things and follow these things, and it was just could be a hobby or just interesting. But now it's affecting every part of our life. I think it's always been there, maybe always been at this level, but the veil has been pulled back, and now it is blinding us with what's happening and how these things are all connected.
Absolutely. I do believe that because it's, and I think more and more people. I do believe more and more people are opening up and they're seeing this. They're seeing the hypocrisy of the news. They're seeing what they're saying and the just the BS they're trying to feed each other and feed us. And I've seen people that they would go by the news every day, and then all of a sudden, even some of them are like, "Wait a minute, some of this, maybe Ricky hadn't been crazy all this time," because I've been looking at this stuff, especially I was talking to a friend Algorithm last night, and I shout out his channel on Rumble, and I was, he asked me, well, what got me into it? I said, well, after 9/11, really. I was like, truly before that, we had like, Robert Schock and John Anthony West was doing the Sphinx and all that, and which it just made me. I just always question things, and then after 9/11 and this stuff just didn't add up, and I'm like, wait a minute.
I was just talking to somebody past weekend about 9/11, and I said, I was giving them just the very quick thing. That's a scam. I won't fly anymore. It's all kabuki theater with the TSA and everything. And they're just looking at me like deer in the headlights. And I said, let me give you an example. You get in the line for TSA to get on a plane, and they put everybody in the cattle line, and you get up to the table, and the TSA agent goes through your purse, your bag, your carry-on, and they look for liquids over a certain size, right? And if you violate the liquid rule because it's potentially an explosive, they take it and they throw it into the trash can 2 feet away from them. So now they've been out there a whole day on their shift, and they've taken maybe dozens, hundreds of bottles, I don't know, of potentially violating liquids that could be explosives or something else dangerous. They put it in the trash can that's sitting a couple feet away from everybody, and now you have a trash can of potential explosive liquids sitting by everybody in the airport. Does that make sense, or does that cause you to go, maybe that's all a scam?
Absolutely. I had to fly back from South Carolina one time, and I got mad as hell at them because I was like, man, I need some shampoo. When I got out there, and I was like, I run out of shampoo. I was like, I'll buy me a bottle. I'll buy me a big bottle because hell, I need it. I'm out. And then as soon as they come out, you can't take this. I'm like, what?
That's a complete
Just bought it.
violation.
It's brand new. I just got it. And like, nope. I'm like,
Could be a potential explosive. Let's put it in the garbage can
I
right
was like,
next to us.
take it. I'm not arguing with you, you stupid.
I said it one time to a TSA agent years ago. I said that exact example. I said, you're taking all these liquids out of these bags. I've seen you take 4 or 5 of them out and you put them in the trash can right next to us. So now you have a trash can of potential explosives hanging around us. He gave me a look that I cannot describe to you, but his supervisor came over and they spent a little extra time with me. So I'm sure I'm on another list after that, but it's common sense with any topic you want to pick, right? 9/11. The COVID, the vaccines, what's happening right now tonight with Venezuela, Iran on the brink of destruction and world war, and at any moment we could be annihilated. It's all BS. We've been lied to before we were born. We were born into these lies. And I know my mom always says, well, I guess everything's a lie. That's true. That's a good statement. I know you're not saying it with the right tone of voice, but yes, everything is a lie.
I mean, especially, we just look at our history, like everything we were taught in school, and we know like everything, damn near everything we were taught in history was BS, absolute BS. All of it was wrong. Columbus did not discover America in 1492. We did not, all these things, and yeah, it's with everything with between COVID and everything else, we just, man, we do need more and more people to wake up, But I seen the Iran things got me a little concerned tonight, though. I seen the air traffic control, everything. The planes there are not many planes flying over Iran right now.
There were no TAMs that were issued about 2-3 hours ago, and there's a big cleared airspace, and then they're throwing out officially it's 24 hours to comply. We don't know what's going on. Then I heard a little while ago before I went in to make some dinner, I saw that they came out as an insider from the White House saying there's a strike carrier group that's over by China that's being moved over into that area, into the Gulf or wherever they would park that thing. And that would take a week to do that. So nothing's happening for a week, right? I heard that right away. And I was like, oh, that's probably disinformation to throw off the timeline of what they think's happening. But I always tell everybody, all of these wars, let's take very simple things, right? We know the banking families. If we're talking about history, let's just go back 100, 150 years. There's a great channel, JT follows JC, who's on YouTube. I recommend him to everybody because he gets into the old architecture and all the BS with buildings that were here forever or longer than they say, yet they don't make any sense why they're here. Civilizations that never knew each other on the realm, the planet, the flat earth, whatever the hell you want to call it. There's buildings that were built that match all over this place, yet those people were never supposed to know each other, never supposed to communicate with each other, never met each other, yet all their buildings and structures look the same, right? So I always recommend his channel. It's fantastic. But, he will point out that maybe, let's start with the rule, 1870, 1860 is as far as we can go back. That might be truth. Anything over that could be BS, right? So let's just use that last 100 years. Well, we know that all the same banking families have financed both sides of every war we know about in the last 100, 150 years. So that alone should cause people to think, man, we're living in a scam. All these wars from right now happening now tonight as you're watching live news to what's happened 50, 100 years ago. It's all orchestrated. It's all meant for a larger purpose, but there is real life death and destruction for us, the common man, the people. And people, I'm sitting here tonight and I'm going, how many parents are going to send their kids off if a false flag event happens here in America and they blame Iran for it, whether they do something crazy like assassinate Trump or say they assassinate him or some big attack happens in the city. You were talking 9/11. Let's talk a 9/11 type event times 10. God forbid happens here in America. Every mother and father will send their kids off to fight that war and save America and save freedom. And we just perpetuate the cycle one generation after the next. And people don't wake up to see all this stuff is orchestrated with real life death and destruction for us. And some people just can't get there. And I could go on, we could do a 24-hour podcast, live radio, TV show, marathon, just going one example after another of how they have orchestrated and engineered wars one after the other. Start with Smedley Butler's book, War is a Racket. 100 and plus years ago, he was a major general, and he told you in detail how he was a pawn for this machine that does exactly what I've said. And then we could go on and on. Gulf of Tonkin, the Reichstag fire, Franz Ferdinand being assassinated, up to 9/11, up to Yellow Cake and weapons of mass destruction in Iraq and Afghanistan, up until, I mean, you insert anyone you want. Any one of those things should cause people to go, hey, this is all BS. But for some reason, they just need to keep getting hit over the head again and again and go, I can't believe that. I can't buy that. I can't imagine they would do that, but it's all right there in front of you. Why don't they see it?
Because they don't want to. Some of them don't want to see it, because it's easier to put your head in the sand and and say, oh, it's okay. Whatever.
Do you think it's really, and I totally hear what you're saying, but do you think we're at a level now that it's gotten beyond that point where people are going, hey man, this is getting out of control? I have a family member, my brother and his wife, they pay $2,500, $2,600 a month for health insurance, right? People are paying, everybody I know has some form of cancer. I'm into I just turned 51. Everybody I know, unfortunately, around me has some kind of cancer that they're dealing with in their 50s, in their 40s, in their 60s. This never happened. My grandparents lived to be in their mid to late 90s, right? Mm-hmm. I can't be the only one that's noticing these things. Your money isn't worth anything. You can't buy a husband, a young couple that gets married is going to go off and buy a $450,000 house unless they have $100,000 as a gift from a family member or some kind of shoehorn situation they're stepping into. Nobody can buy that. Cars are $75,000 to $100,000 for a Tahoe, Escalades, or $1.25, $1.50. Your food is doubled, if not more. And oh, by the way, every food item you eat in the grocery store or buy at a restaurant has poison in it, right? I try to eat clean. I'm sure as a lot of people do, or whatever that term means, meaning I can't eat, milk and cookies and cake and everything every day. You feel bad, right? But you try to eat healthy as you can. But I tell people, we're up against a brick wall anyway, because they're chemtrailing us every day like bugs and have been for decades. So all that poison comes down to the ground, gets into the soil, into the water. The animals that we eat those things. The food, the crops, the vegetables, the fruit is all bathed in that stuff. Then who knows what the hell they do it when they process it. It's enough to make a person feel like we're effed, right? What do we do? So my point in saying this, and I know I'm on a jag here, I'll stop talking, but I did a couple interviews recently, and I was my guest, or the host, Paul, from Understanding Conspiracy, who is another great channel. I recommend it to all your listeners. Understanding Conspiracy, Paul Stobbs, check him out. You will be glued to his channel nonstop. But, he had said to me, and rightfully so, I respect it, Scott, we have to roll out, and I'm paraphrasing, we have to roll out this information in a slow, steady pace. Otherwise, people will think we're crazy. They have to get it in small doses. Otherwise, you'll get banned, you'll get censored. And I'm not quoting him verbatim, but that was the general consensus. And I thought to myself, I addressed it a little bit, but I'm up to the point. The time is now. We have to get people to wake up to what's happening, and there has to be some kind of shift. Now, we could get biblical and say we can't change any of this, right? I've often said the Bible tells us we are supposed to stand up and speak out when we see wrongdoing. We're told to do that, and we're told we have to endure. And perhaps we cannot change any of these things. So as we're speaking here tonight, as all your listeners are listening and hear about things and go on their own searches for truth in different categories of what we're talking about, we have to do that. Can we make a change? Can we stop this? I don't know. But all I know is it feels like being a lifelong conspiracy researcher, we are at a point now where something has to change, and not violence, not civil war, not insurrection, not standing up and pitchforks. And that's not, they want that. They're prepared for that. And that's counterproductive to just the truth setting us free, right? So I always reference when people say, Scott, you got to slow roll this out. People think you're crazy. You're talking about all these things and you got to give it to them in small doses. Well, I remember when I had my own radio show, and this is 10 years ago, I interviewed Dr. Andrew Wakefield, and he's the guy in the documentary called Vaxxed. I recommend everybody go grab that and watch it. And what he said to me during that interview was, Scott, by 2030, 1 in 2, 50%, if not more, of the children born in America will have autism. So you will have a population that cannot take care of itself, cannot run the systems and the infrastructure. If you wanted to collapse a society, that is a way you could do it and never fire a bullet. So let's pretend going back, or let's go back 10 years to when that radio show aired. At the time, I think it was 1 in 50,000 kids or 1 in 25,000 kids were born with autism in America. Okay. When they just came out 6 months or a year ago or whatever it's been, when they said Tylenol is the cause of autism, we figured it out, we're pulling it off the shelves or whatever the hell they did. The next day, that story was gone. Right. And it was 1 in 12 when they made that announcement of kids that are born with autism. So Wakefield said 10 years ago, he came on and said at a time when it was 1 in 25,000 or 1 in 50,000. And I apologize for not knowing the right number, but either of those are a big spread from today, 6 months ago, 1 in 12 are born with it, right? And in just a couple of years, we're in 2026 now, 4 years or less, half the kids born are going to have it. To me, that sounds like a situation, just that topic alone, where we need to be shouting it from the rooftops and something needs to change today.
Absolutely. And if you see the maps of where the autism is too, that those right there is a red flag from hell, showing that.
Tell your listeners about that.
Yeah, the actual map of where the autism is like United States, where all the places where they're performing all these tests, Uncle Bill Gates is doing, and Uncle Bill Gates always gets me in trouble on on YouTube sometimes. So sometimes
he's not a sponsor of the show.
He's not a sponsor for some reason. I don't know. Maybe we can get him on. But yeah, the kind of piggyback.
You understand what I'm saying, though, with the sense of urgency. I have a tough time, and people always take that as, oh, you want physical violence and all. No, that's exactly what I don't want. I have a song about that now, and I've talked about that many times. That's the exact opposite, because if just the truth came out, that would set us free. There's a reason that saying has been around longer than both of us sitting here and talking tonight, because that would solve all the problems. The truth comes out, the real truth. The people the people or the demonic entities or the force that rules over us here right now, they would have no more power.
Yeah, and also on the other side, we've heard, the Agenda 2030, and it's only 4 more years away. So we need to have an urgency of getting information out there, and I know, for me, that's one of the reasons why I do this is just to get information out there, get truths out there. I've done shorts and stuff on different, projects and stuff they've done, like Project Sears and stuff, doing weather manipulation, like you were talking about, the clouds, and I mean, they've done it, they have patents all the way back to 1800s on that.
It's all right on paper. You can see it in plain sight. It's right there. There's that revelation of the method theory that people talk about, that the let's call it the force or the demons or whatever the hell you want to call that's controlling us above the governments, above the Bill Gates and the George Soroses and all the bad guys and the good guys that people see fighting it out in the sandbox. The force that's controlling all of that, they show you everything they're going to do. And people call that revelation of the method. They have to tell you or show you what they're doing before they do it. And you have free will to go along with it or not. If that's a true concept, folks, it's all out there. You just have to look and open your eyes.
I agree. I believe that for sure, and that's why you see it in the movies. We see all the stuff in the movies actually show us absolutely. And you were talking about the wars being, built on both sides. Um, One of the things that got me really questioning a lot of things and digging deep was when Obama and Romney ran against each other, and I looked it up, and I forget what made me look it up, but I looked through there, and they had the same sponsors, the same people were paying for their on both sides. So I was like, oh, it don't matter who gets in here. And then you look at it, their policies are about the same. You know, you had Obamacare, Romney Care. Okay, it's the same. Just one had a little darker, shade to them. That's it. And it was just the same person, the same backers. So it didn't matter who we got in there. And
I mean, let's take the example, something everybody could relate to, and that's, you're exactly right on that. Let's look at the deindustrialization of America, right? That started in the 60s, kicked into high gear in the 70s and the 80s. So on the surface, all the Republicans and Democrats are fighting it out on the floor against each other, my side versus your side, and we're going to fight for you, et cetera, et cetera. Yet behind the scenes, probably for a very small amount of money, which is all it takes for these low-level pieces of you-know-what to sell us out. They all sold us out equally, while they pretended to fight about it on the surface. And now 50 years later, nothing's made here in America. We don't even grow our own food in a lot of cases. We're dependent on all these other nations. Yet on the surface, they all fought it out and pretended like they were good guy versus bad guy, my team versus your team. But they all sold us out equally. No different. I tell people, everybody's talking about the 2020 election being a fraud and stolen and all those things. You got people that are still talking about that. Okay, that's good. But then they talk about 2016 was stolen and the elections before that. I'm of the mind, and people could talk me into a different scenario, but I'm of the mind our elections have been manipulated and controlled. The ones that matter, or the ones that they really need the population to feel like they bought into, those have been controlled before you and I were born. They've always been controlled. And people just can't see that or get to that. But it's so obvious because, as you say, they're all the same behind the scenes. All this stuff is moving forward. What if we don't want an AI data center in our town that ruins the water, ruins the economy, and does all these things to the environment? We don't want it in our town. Too bad. Deal with it. Sorry, can't help you. What if I don't want a plane flying over every day spraying poison on me? Too bad. Deal with it. Can't help you. Put that into everything. Right. So why do you think, let me ask you this, why do you think people still cannot understand that there is a false left-right paradigm? G. Edward Griffin talked about it decades ago, right? And so many others have, right? Why do people still not get to the point to see they're both the same? They're all the same, controlled by another power above them.
I think some of it's just, some of it is just, they're bred into it. They're housing, like a lot of families and stuff. My whole family, hey, this family's, all been Democrat their whole life. And they, they voted Democrat. I've been a Democrat. This person's been a Democrat. And on the other side, they've always been Republican on the other side or something. And they fed into that nature, and they fed into that thing. And instead of actually really looking at it, and I like that movie, Distinguished Gentleman with Eddie Murphy. And I really believe that's really how it is. Like, they're all just kind of cool in the background, and they're just shaking each other's hand. And
we've even seen examples like that in real life, where they're all hanging out at the parties together, glad handing each other. They all move in the same circles and are all connected. I always say to everybody, if you can get to the point and understand that we get our rights from God, our creator, not from man scribbling down the rules of the game on a piece of paper and giving it to us and say, for the next 4 years, here's what you can do and can't do. There's the concept of man doesn't have the right to rule over another man. That's called slavery. And that groups of men don't have the right to rule over the masses, and certainly don't have the rights to do things that us as individuals under their system are not allowed to do. Meaning, we can't get together and say, hey, we're going to go bomb these people halfway across the realm or the world or whatever the hell it is we're dealing with. That's another topic we could get into deep if you want to. But we don't have the right to do those things and just indiscriminately go wipe out countries or take their resources or steal from them. But yet you get together in a group and you call it the government, and you're in a fancy building with fancy costumes and pomp and circumstance and all the rituals. You can do whatever the hell you want, right? So I always tell people, rise above all of it. Man doesn't have the right to rule over another man. That's slavery. That's where we need to get to, not the left-right paradigm and all this monkey business happening below it. But that's a big stretch for people to even understand that that's a possibility, because most have never thought about it, right?
No, absolutely, and you know, you still get to that point. Like even the ones that you see more and more people are like opening up, and like, oh, look at this, you know, and especially you see more of the grifters and stuff, you know, pushing these narratives, and you know, you got all these talking heads on TV on these shows now, and they're pushing these narratives, and more people are seeing it, but they're still just been so programmed, like, you know, you still have to, you know, even though you're thinking both sides, and then something happens, you're far right. That person's still far right, or this person's far left, and that extreme. I keep saying that extremeness on that is what's wrong. You know, I was telling somebody the other day, is like, you know, we got Trump derangement syndrome on the left and the right, the extremes on both sides. One says he can't do right, and one says he does everything right. You know, one says he's a god, one says he's a devil. You know, it's like, you know, it's a balance. It's somewhere in the middle right there. And
look at how that keeps everybody distracted, to put everything on him. And he's the one that says you can do this or can't do this. You know, what's the thing he came out with? It's going to be 10% for credit card. They're going to institute a 10% for credit card insurance for the next 12 months. People, do you not understand that the president shouldn't have any control over what your credit card interest is, or what you pay for food or gasoline or any of those things? But again, that's a stretch for a lot of, you know, the thing that's going on in Minnesota with the Somali scam and all that. And it's a scam, and it looks like there's a lot of corruption, and it's a whole, you know what, show that's going on there, and potentially it's coming to the surface, and I don't think anything will ever be done with it, right? But people don't realize the government originally stole your money out of your pocket, and then the Somali crew came in and stole that money from the government. So both entities stole your money out of your pocket, because it's all illegitimate to begin with, right? You say, I don't want to pay taxes for the war that you're going to go start, or for this or for that. And what do? You're met with violence. You and I don't pay our taxes. We're in a cage, or where they suck it out of your bank account, or you have financial violence or something like that. We don't have any choice of whether we want to contribute or participate in the things they're going to spend that money on. And if you don't want to do that, you're going to be thrown in jail or dealt, you know, with consequences. That's called slavery, right? If I came to you and said, every week when you're done working with your show and any money you collect for sponsorship and donations, you got to give me 20% of that. You'd call the authorities and say, this guy's shaking me down. That would be called slavery, right? You know, you got to give me 20% of your money every week, man. Well, we do that with our government, you know, and we have to do it, because if you and I didn't do it, we'd be in the slammer. But if millions of people understood that that's not legitimate and that's a scam, maybe we could have some change, right? I mean, that whole topic right there, people can go down weeks-long rabbit holes and get all the information they need to speak with confidence on that topic, right? But the Somalis are doing a bad thing in Minnesota. No, they took the money to begin with from you. They shouldn't have, and now this other group stole it from the group. So they're both in the wrong.
Yeah, because we could go all the way back to the Federal Reserve when they finally pushed it in on the day after Christmas, and it snuck it in on us. And
when the opposition to it, the 2 or 3 guys that were opposed to it, went down in the Titanic, allegedly, right?
Allegedly. Yeah. You know, everybody that was opposed to it, actually, they turned around. Of course, there's a whole conspiracy theory, and, you know, that wasn't even truly the Titanic. You know, it was, you know.
Right, the original ship got damaged in an insurance claim. They swapped that one out and then took it out and sank it, right? Yeah, I was just talking about that with somebody like 2 days ago, and he was telling me, you know, the Federal Reserve is as federal as Federal Express, meaning it's not even a government entity. I said, yeah, I know about that. I said, have you ever read The Creature from Jekyll Island? He goes, no. I said, you should look into that, check it out, and then get back to me. So we'll see what he has to say. But for all your listeners that don't know that topic about the Federal Reserve, read The Creature from Jekyll Island yesterday from G. Edward Griffin. I mean, meaning read it as soon as possible, because you'll have a PhD in what a scam the Federal Reserve and a Ponzi scheme our whole financial system is, allegedly.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, because we can't even have the fraction baking and all that put in, which a lot of people put back and thinking about it. We were talking about presidents and stuff. Going like JFK, he wanted to get rid of the Federal Reserve. Of course, he wanted to put a certain group on as a lobbyist, and then he got killed over it all. But that we don't need the Federal Reserve. We don't need none of that crap. We had roads, we had military, everything before all that. Of course, once they put in there and it started sitting there and being able to loan us money, and that's how we get so much debt, because of the Federal Reserve and how much they can sit there and manipulate the system. And then you got the bankers, like you said, paying for both sides of the wars, and that's why we keep on. Like, I'm 46, and there's maybe been no years of my life that we haven't been in conflict with somebody or somewhere. We're dropping bombs or bullets somewhere in the world.
That's the old 1984 George Orwell plan. If you constantly make the people in fear of their safety, and in a lot of cases, if people have read that book, the storyline for that book, they attack themselves on a regular basis, meaning the government attacked themselves and the people. So the people were always saying, just do whatever it takes to keep us safe. We don't want the enemies at the gates to get through. We'll give you our money and our tax dollars and our freedom. Just keep us safe from the bad guys. And in the end, they were the bad guys. We could lay out an hour's worth of examples where potentially that exact scenario has been played against us over and over again in this country.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's insane how the level of things we can turn around and just spit facts all night long. We really could. I do believe we could do a 24-hour podcast, and there's this stuff.
I'm interested because I used to do a show like almost a decade ago now, and I touched to all these topics, a couple hundred episodes and interviews and topics and all these things, like almost 10 years ago now. And back then, I felt an urgency to shout it from the rooftops. What do you think now, as somebody, and I haven't done a broadcast like that in almost a decade, as somebody who's doing it right now, do you look at it as like, hey, this is part of my day, this is something I have to do? Or do you feel like a level of urgency? Because I don't know your full backstory, but you've been into these topics for a long time. Do you feel like we're at a quickening and time is of the essence to get the core out so people wake up and we have some kind of chance to have change?
I do believe so. I think we need to we've had so much stuff is being pushed in narrative right now with the digital dollars and stuff, and carbon credits and all this stuff and all this 2030 agenda stuff, and
the IDs to use the internet or use anything, and the AI is scanning everything we're saying, every phone call, every text message, every email, every video that gets uploaded to social media. It's scanned within seconds, and we're all, I saw something the other day. I was just Googling something, and immediately when I went onto Instagram, I saw an ad for it. So it knew what I was searching for on the computer, and it sent it to my Instagram feed to serve me up ads for it, like within a minute, right, of searching for that and then going into my phone and looking at something on Instagram. Know that, for everyone listening, when you're Googling something or searching for something or talking to something or to somebody or texting about it on your phone, then you start getting ads served up. The nefarious things that we're talking about, topics like, I think government is slavery, or I don't agree with these wars, or I don't like these things happening around me in my world as a human being. I think we're being sent down the wrong path. All those communications are being tracked and stored and filed. And though you aren't served up an ad for it, I guarantee you they're getting ready to use that against us at some point. What do you think of that?
I think so too. We see the narrative over in China. They're already doing it over there to the people, and you got kids out there sleeping in the streets because they can't buy food. And they're already pushing that narrative with the
We
carbon
know that
credit.
famous video that went viral a few years ago about the guy in China that wanted to book a train ticket, I think it was, and they wouldn't let him buy it because his social credit score wasn't up to snuff. And it just literally wouldn't let him purchase the ticket, right? Remember seeing that one?
Hmm. Yeah, I
Yeah.
showed a video a few weeks back too. Where they had just the narrative of coming up and where with the carbon credit score and turn around and went in there and was like, hey, the person went to go get some to the doctor and like, well, you need some more iron, you need some more meat. Went to go buy some meat. They're like, no, your carbon score is too high already. You can get some mealworms. So
And what country was that in?
um, over in China, and
So
that's
there's a lot of
that's just
people that might hear that and go, "Oh, that's happening there. That doesn't affect me. I live in America, and that's never going to happen here."
we see that over in the UK and England and right now and all across Europe. It's a wave. It's a wave coming this way. Absolutely,
Well,
and
before we got on tonight, we were chatting for a couple minutes. You were mentioning, we were talking about Canada and the health system, and you brought up the number which I wasn't aware of. I know they're starting up the assisted suicide and the euthanasia for folks that may be terminal or may have been, depressed or maybe have lost their spouse or a loved one and are just ready to throw in the towel. And we can get into that topic in a little while if you want. But I was blown away. I didn't even know that you said, what is it, 60,000 people in Canada potentially have chosen to end their life by assisted suicide because it's just gotten too much for them. We're talking 60,000 people, and a lot of people don't even know it's happening, let alone 60,000, right?
that's what I remember reading. Don't quote on the number. Look it up. Question everything we say. Y'all look up stuff for yourself for sure. But yeah, they are, and they're
If it's
and
one
you
or
can't
a
do the doctor
dozen,
over there
it's too
too.
many. If it's
Oh yeah,
one or
no.
a dozen, it's too many
Oh,
for us to
absolutely.
do that with our fellow man.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're treating like animals, and you're euthanizing like they're animals, and these are our grandparents and stuff. And you're already like in Canada, where you gotta wait 2 years to see a doctor. If you don't have money, if you have money, those you can get in there. But if you don't have
I even
money, well,
known
you gotta
people
wait.
from Canada that do have money that still come here to America because they can't get the health care in a timely manner in their country.
Oh yeah, it's sad, and like and I keep telling people that like, well, we need free healthcare. I'm like, well, you got to be careful what you ask for. We need help, and actually, the sad thing is like if you go around too on the healthcare thing, is if you go to a doctor, I seen a thing talking about the other day where if you for pregnancy alone, and if you go in there to the doctor and you say, hey, I don't have insurance, they're okay, they'll give you a number, and some of it's all the way to a quarter of what the bill is if you have insurance. They charge you 4 times as much if you have insurance.
Yet if you're coming out of pocket or you're getting some help with it, it's the rate comes way, way down.
It's yeah, I've seen where people would, hey, I don't have a doctor. Okay, we're cutting 50% off right here, and then we'll knock it where you can do monthly payment plan, and we'll make a deal. I'm like, it ain't worth paying for insurance, and then if you go get insurance, you pay all this money, and then they're like, well, you got $3,000 deductible. Well, so you're still paying out of pocket anyway.
3,000's a light one. I know people that are dealing with things right now with 10 and 20,000 deductibles.
Oh. Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, think about, if you Google or look at numbers what an average person makes or a household makes. I mean, these are 50, by the time they have a couple bills, it's 70-80% of what they're making just to survive. I have that song, To Them We're All the Same. There's the artwork for that tune that's out right now. I have a line in that song that basically speaks, we're supposed to just work till we die, stay numbed on drugs and alcohol, and don't ask questions and just sit in the corner and go along with it. That's what we're told to do. That's what we're supposed to do. You step outside of that lane and start questioning things, you're labeled a conspiracy theorist and a troublemaker and anti-American and all that crap. And I say enough is enough.
Yeah, I seen Ben Shapiro come out a while back and said that he said we shouldn't we shouldn't even retire at 70. We should work keep on working. There's no reason because if you stop working, then you're gonna die anyway. And it's like, man, what the
Ben's
hell?
worth tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. That guy never has to work a day in his
Yeah,
life for being a mouthpiece for the demons that rule over us. So has no relation to the common man, just like most of the celebrities and the influencers that are out there that are shifting popular culture.
absolutely. F Shapiro. I was like, F him. I will put.
Yeah.
I re I reposted it on my Twitter and said that because it's like, man, come on, we shouldn't have to work until, I seen that I've been trying to travel more and stuff like that, and I remember uh, I did a trip and I seen this older couple and I was sitting there thinking about it, and there's one and I was like, I was at this waterfall and I said, yeah, the waterfall is pretty cool, so I just want to look from here this direction. And I was like, she's like, yeah, my husband can't get out, and I'm thinking, that man probably worked, all the way until he couldn't, and now they're trying to travel around a little bit, and they really can't go and see these amazing sights. They're
Yeah, because
trying,
they're
but they,
physically not in a position to
yeah.
do that. And what a waste that has been, right?
So for sure, if you're able to get out and go see sights and go do it, take the time because there's no reason not to take the time and go see family or vacations or something because you know
Get off your
tomorrow's not
phone, get
promised.
off your device, get out of the house and breathe some of that chemtrail infused air.
Yep, for
I
sure.
mean, what do we do? I mean, I would assume most of your listeners know about all the topics we're mentioning here tonight, just kind of riffing, going from one thing to the next. They probably know about all these things from MK Ultra to chemtrails to the Mockingbird media to the false left right paradigm and all the other things that are going on. My question is this, and I know you're talking to me and it's your show, but I have a question for you.
No, you're
What
good. Let
do
rip.
we do, and can we call, lack of a better term, is it biblically written that we can't stop this but we have to stand up and speak out and endure, or can we make a positive change peacefully by giving people truth and the truth will set us free? Do you see it happening in our lifetime? Can we do it?
I hope so. I think we can. I mean, I think that it's possible. We can actually get some more and more. I think, like I said, more and more people are opening up to the truth, and I think we can. I think we could actually get some movement on it. There's some evil people are trying to bring in,
Do you believe it's a
revelation.
battle between good and evil, a true, like, supernatural battle between good and evil, or do you think it's something else?
I think there is, and then there's some really probably possessed people that are really trying to bring in, the end of the world. We get all this stuff going on in Israel and stuff with the red heifers, and they're building the tabernacle, and they want to build the next temple. And to do that, they're going to have to really, it's going to be some bad stuff had to happen first, which does get all the way back to biblical and goes to Revelation, where all nations hate to Israel, and if that's something like that happens, and
I mean,
somehow
it's
that's
no
happened.
accident from doing a show and going on hundreds of topics and all these rabbit holes that we've just touched on here tonight. It's no accident. I can see it plain as day that the "it's the Jews" narrative is not happening by accident. That is orchestrated to let that now bubble up to the surface and let that get traction and be amplified. And there is a lot to be said for that concept, and they have a lot of control. Certain groups within that group that control things and have power over us in many more ways that are just on the surface. And I'm not discounting that, but there's another level, in my opinion, that controls all of that, including the "it's the Jews" narrative. There's another demonic force, a true biblical battle between good and evil. Call it supernatural, call it whatever you want. There's another layer above that. It's not the people and the groups that we see duking it out here. There's another level. That's my feeling anyway.
I think so too. I mean, we got all these Malachian worshiping people, and I think it is. It's an actual true power of the good versus evil, and hopefully more of the good people can open up and see what's really truly going on, see the pull the blinders, um, we need Roddy Piper and to shoot the satellite and they live, and bring everybody's eyes
We've got
open.
one that can see.
Yeah, we need to be able to do it and see,
I mean, there's
let
another
everybody see it.
example of predictive programming right in our face. Did Carpenter know what was really going on? Was he given the information and that's where the screenplay came from? I don't know. Somebody said to me the other day, they were talking about, and this is an old story. We were talking about this when I did my show 10 years ago, about maybe even before, of how James Cameron, the director of Terminator, if people don't know who that is, right? He did Titanic and all that, but Terminator was his big one, Terminator 1 and 2. And somebody was mentioning, I heard he has a couple bunkers, and he's got a big boat that he lives on in the open sea, so he can be completely away from everything when it collapses and be somewhat insulated from these things. And then they said, why would he do that? And I was like, why? He made the commercial of what's happening and what's coming right now. He knows the playbook. Why the hell wouldn't he be away from it if he could, right? And it took him a minute to figure that one out and go, yeah, I guess I kind of understand what you're saying, but that's a little reach. But I mean, the guy made the documentaries on what we're living in right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, and look at all the ones, several years ago they come out and like it's all hush hush now. Nobody talks about it. But several years ago there was all talking about all the bunkers. Zuckerberg built that one in Hawaii. All
Everybody's
the
built a
elite,
bunker.
everybody was building a bunker. And then all of a sudden, poof, it stopped talking about it. Nobody's talking about it. Any more bunkers, anything that stuff. They didn't have TV shows about bunkers on TV and stuff. All that shit went away. Poof, all of it went away.
Why do you think that is?
They once you forget about they have those kind of things, and because
Yet they
that's
want to show it to you, revelation of the method, right?
mm-hmm,
Perhaps.
perhaps.
I went into, when I did my show, not to always reference back to that, but that's my point of context, because I covered all these topics, right? And we talked about how allegedly Werner von Braun was told his secretary for maybe even 2 decades after the war, when he came over here to the States, he said, this is the playbook they're going to do. And how do I know that? Because I'm part of the they, and I know all the theys, right? So if we operate from that premise, he said, first off, it's the Cold War, the nuclear arms race that by the push of a button, we could all be annihilated at any second with global thermal nuclear war, right? And we saw that happen. Then he said, they're going to do the war on terror and everything's going to move to the Middle East. Well, that happened. And then he said they're going to do the bioweapon. And boy, we could potentially see that happened. And he said the final thing they do, and I'm sure a lot of your listeners know about this, he said the final thing that they will do to move the chess pieces into place and get total control over the masses is the staged fake alien invasion. They'll make it look like potentially like Independence Day. That movie was made maybe 2 decades, 3 decades after he was talking about this, allegedly, to his secretary and those within his inner circle. But they'll make it look like we're at the brink of being invaded and annihilated by an alien force. And at the last moment, we'll negotiate with them. Our leaders will negotiate with them. And I use leaders in quotes. We'll negotiate with them, and maybe the playbook, he never specifically said what the negotiations would entail, but the story goes that maybe it's give up your guns, or maybe take this new monetary system or the chip, or insert anything. But there's a revelation of the method. To go down to Independence Day with Will Smith. How many years ago is that movie? Is that 90s or early 2000s? I don't remember. But the storyline with that was there was big alien ships parked all around the world, ready to invade. And there's your playbook right there. So you're talking revelation of the method. There's one way to do it. And I think a lot of people, I think the majority of people, even though the topic of Project Bluebeam and predictive programming and media and movies for our whole life, from E.T. and Bob Lazar's story at Area 51 and the Tic Tac and all these different things, right? Close Encounters and Men in Black and all these things that have been rolled out for us for decades. That's not by accident. People can say it is, but they're getting you primed subconsciously for generations that this is coming eventually, right?
Have you seen? I don't know if you've seen or not, but the Pope even said this year that 2026 is going to be the year that kind of more disclosure we'll be able to see, and with all this disclosure movies, you know, and even Spielberg's got that one coming out in June.
Spielberg has the one that maybe connects them to demons and demonic entities. I think, you know, it's that, isn't it
It
called
looks that way.
Disclosure?
Yeah, yeah, it looks that way, especially with that picture on that first billboard.
How about
And
the sound that the creature makes, or that she makes when she's allegedly possessed in in the trailer? Have you seen that? And it's a very disturbing sound.
it is. It. I remember somebody talking about it. It harked back to something else, but I've been I've been kind of thinking. I believe they're gonna. I think by this. I think by fall. I think they're gonna try to roll out. I think this year. I think
You
this
think this
year
Disclosure's coming this year, 2026,
it might
100%?
might be. They'll call it disclosure. I believe it might be them doing it. It might be their ships, and you know, and
Oh,
the
I think
art.
it's 100%. See, I have a different feeling when I started down this road, 7th grade, end of 6th grade, moving from Chicago to Arizona. So 7th grade, I started junior high in Arizona. And I remember I used to listen to Coast AM, Art Bell, back in that time, right? That would have been 87, 86 or 87, something like that. So, and I had a C Crane radio. So C Crane radios, for those of you that are old school, you have an AM, FM, and then you have a shortwave band. So you can pick up everything. And after I got into starting to listen to Art Bell, I picked up William Cooper, right? The Hour of the Time. And then shortly thereafter, because Jones is the same age as me, allegedly, I picked up InfoWars when he was doing shortwave radio before he went big time, right? So I was listening to all this different stuff. And on the topic of aliens and whatnot, my feeling has completely changed. I think I mean, I used to listen to Art Bell, and you would hear about all the different stories that, you know, people that would come on for abductions, and the Betty and Barney Hill story, and Roswell. And he had, I can't remember now the guest that he would have on that always talked about abductions and things like that. But I mean, there's hundreds of them, right? Some of them very well known. And I think now up to Bob Lazar and the crew talking about Tic Tacs and everything else with David Fravor, and now the committees with Rubio and everybody in Washington getting to the bottom of all these things, right? I think the whole alien narrative is a scam. And we could get into the details of it, but I think we're in an enclosed system. Now, I'm not saying we're living in a snow globe. I'm not saying it's flat Earth exactly, and there's a barrier, and it's exactly like they say. But I think it's something like that. I don't think we're on a spinning marble traveling through space and everything's random flying around us. You look up into the night sky, and they can predict exactly where every light in the sky will be tonight, 100 years from now, 100 years ago, with mathematical precision. It's like a clock up there, right? We know this. So I think we're in some sort of enclosed system. We could get into the details of it, but go back to biblical cosmology. I like that term better than flat Earth. I think there's a lot of negative connotations with the term flat Earth to make people seem crazy. But there's so many things on that. But going back to that, I think the alien invasion, disclosure, and everything around that, every alien movie you've seen, from E.T. to Close Encounters to all the ones we're talking about and all the ones that will come out, and including all the stories of Area 51 and Bob Lazar working on alien craft and everything in that bucket, I think that's all a psyop to get people to believe there are thousands or millions of entities living out in that night sky, and they're all around us, and they come and go. And what does that do? That gets us away from the story that we were created by God, and this is what's here, and we are divine, and we are special. And I don't think there's anything beyond that barrier like we're told. Is there something else? Perhaps. I'm not saying I know exactly what it is, but it's not what they're telling us. But all those things of, there's aliens, they're coming, there's little green men, we're going to Mars, we're going to put hotels on Mars, we're going to live in space, all that kind of stuff, Star Trek, Star Wars. I think that's to get people away from the truth that they know we were created by God, and we are divine, and we are special. We didn't evolve from pond scum. We didn't evolve. That's my feeling.
Yeah, the evolution part, it never made sense to me, because it always, well, we evolved from this. Well, if we evolved from that,
And that thing
why is
just
it still
stayed
here?
stuck, yet we jumped it and kept going.
Yeah, why is it still here though? Too, if the evolution is works like they say, then how do we still have the old, creatures? If we evolved from monkeys or whatever, why we still have monkeys? Why didn't they all evolve? None of it makes sense. It's
I don't agree with
into
everything he says from very specific things, but I respect his work. People should go check out Eric Dubay, who could be like the godfather of the flat earth theory. He's really talked about it, and his videos are incredible, just showing you common sense things that, oh yeah, that really doesn't make sense what they say about our cosmology and the heliocentric model that we're rotating at 1,000 miles per hour, and that's going around at 66,000 miles per hour, and that's all moving around in a big soup at 1.5 million. So that's an interesting rabbit hole if everybody's never gone down it. I'm sure a lot of your listeners know who Eric Dubay is, but he has a great video and a presentation he did called Dinosaurs Never Existed. And Reader's Digest on it is just simply dinosaurs were never talked about until the mid 1800s, 1850, 1860, somewhere around there. What we know as a dinosaur is all created by graphic artists who made up what they potentially looked like with the feathers and the colors and all those different things. And then there's like 100 bullet points in his work that show you the creation of them as we know, the fact that nobody's ever really discovered a dinosaur bone in their backyard or digging a pool or building the thousands of miles of pipelines that are all over the world for oil and gas lines. A kid digging in the backyard has never found one. Somebody digging a pool with a backhoe or digging a road. None of those things have ever been discovered. They're all very, very controlled Smithsonian dig sites. That's an interesting angle. And there's many, many things that just on the topic of dinosaurs never existed. I'm not telling anybody that's hearing this to buy into it. Make your own decision. Go have discernment and go listen to it. But if you want to have another thing that points you away from God, our creator that made us, versus we just evolved and dinosaurs were part of the old evolution narrative, that's a very interesting rabbit hole to go down. And if people really think fossil fuels, meaning all the millions of barrels we pull out of the earth every day, come from decomposed dinosaur bones that are just in big deposits everywhere, I mean, there is some serious questioning of your own sanity you have to come to. And they still use the term fossil fuels, right?
It was, they said that term was, was brought in, the earliest, Standard Oil brought it in to make it sound, limited.
Scarcity.
The scarcity of it. But yeah, no, they're showing now. I seen a study the other day that the oil deposits are replenishing itself, and slowly.
There's that whole theory that talks about the earth makes the oil. Is that the ambiotic concept that the earth just constantly makes it, constantly making it.
Absolutely. And
I always tell people if they took a little Post-it note or a 3x5 card and they told people, this is where we come from and this is the truth. This is where you come from. This is what you're supposed to be doing here. This is where you go when you die, when you leave this physical realm. And here's the truth about the rock we're sitting on right now. And maybe throw in some free energy in there, meaning this is where energy really comes from, whether it's like Tesla and it comes from the ether that supposedly has been disproven, but we know potentially that's there when you get into these ancient structures and stuff. JT follows JC, and the ether topic is incredible. People should go follow that. But if you gave everybody the rules of the game and it was the truth, which I believe they that rule over us have those answers. They know the answers. Yet if they gave these to everybody at birth and you're a kid and they hand you the manual, that simple 5 bullet point rules of the game, it would be a game changer. I mean, it would change everything. There's the truth setting us free, because if you really knew why you're here and what the consequences are when you go to the next place of how you behaved here and all these different things, would we need governments? Would we need militaries? Would we need police forces like we have now? I don't think so. I mean, that's a question for people to think about. But if those keys to the machine or the system or the game, whatever you want to call it, were given to you and you knew the truth, not this is conspiracy theory or this is conjecture. No, this is the truth. These are the hard facts. There's got to be entities or people that know those answers. But if they give those away, they've lost all control, right? And one more tag on that is people go, well, what do they get out of it? If they wanted to kill us and just push the button, they could just do it and kill everybody, either with a weapon or just, mow everybody down or whatever. If they wanted to get rid of us, and if that was really like you say, they could just get rid of us in a second like that. I think there's a supernatural good and evil happening where they have to have suffering, right? There has to be suffering in this, I'll call it the realm or reality or our lives or whatever you want to call it. There has to be suffering here so that they feed off of it. They need the energy from our suffering and our misery on a massive scale. That's an interesting thing to think about. But if we had the answers and it wasn't a mystery, meaning the truth was really there, would be a completely different place. That's why I'm trying to tell people as often as possible, we get our rights from God. We're divine. We're special. Even if people have never told you you're special, your life matters. You're special. You're here for a purpose. Even if you never believed that or were told that, you are. We all are. And we're all equal in that capacity. And never forget that. If people can just wake up to that fact and say, no, that's right. That's slavery. We're being ruled over, regardless of what flavor of slavery it is, meaning the supposed freedom we have here in America or the slavery they have in China. It's just different flavors. It's Coke versus Pepsi versus Fanta versus root beer. At the end of the day, you still have to comply. If you get out of line in those rules, there's big consequences. If people were given the truth to those things, that's why I love the analogy. I'll use it of the note card with them all listed out there. Very simple. Be a totally different game. That's why I tried. That's why I'm talking to you tonight. That's why I did my show. That's why I have that song that's out there right now that talks about we get our rights from God, not from a government. That means that we are sent, and we send our kids, our sons and daughters now. People actually send their daughters with open arms, send them off to fight wars, where 50 years ago, 100 years ago, you'd never send your wife or your daughter off to fight a war. Now that's normalized and accepted. I don't believe in any of the crap, but that's now been normalized. But we're supposed to just put our heads down, work till you die like a dog, just survive. Zone out with some alcohol or some weed or drugs or whatever you got to do to zone out. Don't ask why it's like this. If you do, get back in line and send your sons and daughters to die in the war machine for these wars that are engineered and manufactured and all BS with real life death and destruction for us. I mean, that's what that tune's about, is to tell people we get our rights from God, not from man, not from a group of men. And it's just like why you're doing this show here, because you want to wake people up, because we want to spread the truth and the real truth as we know it, as we've come to realize, because we don't have all the answers either, right? I'll be the first one to admit that. But I know some of the narratives they're telling us on a day-by-day basis is not what's happening.
Yeah, you're talking about slavery is kind of, when they first released the slaves, and all right, now you're a free man, they gave them housing and board, and okay, now you're free. Well, now you're going to go, now you got to pay for rent. Now you got to work for us and work at our, and buy, we're going to give you money, and then you're going to shop at our stores. And so they were actually,
it's trading one flavor of slavery for the next.
Exactly.
Yet believing you're now free, right? What's that saying? I don't know who said it, but the most enslaved man is the one who thinks he's free, right?
I believe so, yeah. Absolutely.
Larkin Rose, who I listen to from time to time, and I read his book, The Greatest Superstition, which talks about that government is slavery concept. And I don't agree with everything, especially on faith and God and whatnot, but I respect him greatly for the concept of government is slavery. We are free because we have our rights from our creator. And he has an excellent documentary called The Jones Plantation, which it lays it out like a 2-year-old could understand it, of what we're living under right now. I recommend everybody go check that out.
Yeah, I've seen that before too.
Yeah.
I've put too much stuff in my head, I swear. I think just kind of pour it in, and then I go down the rabbit hole, and I got 20 tabs up on my computer, and
I know how that goes. I mean, I think I've talked about this a couple times recently. Why do you think all this information is coming out and bubbling up like all this? I'll use truth, because a lot of it's truth, a lot of it's kind of truth, a lot of it's misinformation and psyops and misdirection. Do you feel from let's say 10 years ago that there's something going on, that this stuff is like a fire hose of the truth coming out at a level we've never seen? And do you think that's controlled? That's on purpose?
Yes, yes, and yes. I think some of it is. Some of it is just natural. Like just more and more people are looking at it and seeing, and um, the beauty, and the I guess evil of the technology. We got podcasts and we got all this kind of stuff, and we got more people are talking and asking questions and stuff, and then of course the powers that be are funding some of these other podcasts and shows and narratives and pushing these other stuff. Oh yeah, to distract us from because they can't let us have all the truth. They can't let us have all the information and really know everything's going on. They got to throw some, and I think that's what keeps everybody from truly waking up is because you know everybody calls everybody conspiracy theory, and then but in like 6 months it comes true. But if you turn around and see, or then they'll turn around and throw something after screwball ass theory out there, and like, what is that? That's got to be a distraction over here because the pull and everything like, and then because there's so many people that
Give me an example of what you're talking about. Give me a real example of that.
Let me think.
You're thinking like when they give you a bit of truth to bite on, but they don't give you the final keys that would unlock the whole subject or something?
Oh, not just that. It's just like if you have, I'm trying to think of exactly like a good subject of just we're um if you're going to turn around and having if you see a bunch of like the truth is coming out, I mean all of a sudden just some weird subject comes up and it kind of gets pushed into the narrative. Some people say the Tartaria stuff is pushing in there, talking about the old cities and stuff like that. Is one that is to distract people. I don't know. I know there
And
was
the interesting thing with the Tartaria thing, just I think as a Reader's Digest thing or just a headline of it, the Tartaria concept for people that don't know says the structures and the technology and everything that's wrapped up into that bucket came from an outer, like an alien intervention, where the other side of that coin is it was the millennial kingdom and it came from Christ's time because Revelation and Armageddon has already happened and we're living in Satan's little season. He's ruling again and the 1,000-year millennial reign has already happened, right? So there's those two conflicting things. That's a very interesting topic.
Oh, for sure. Like we'll go down a big rabbit hole there. So so some of it's like that. Like if you just see this something, this really off, left field kind of thing. I can't just.
Who do we got running around there?
Yeah, that's Miss Kitty. Come here, Miss Kitty.
Now you got two, right?
Yeah, it's a big one.
That's a girl?
Yeah, she's a girl. They're both girls.
They look very sweet. They want to help you out there.
Yeah, she stepped on the keyboard. She spammed my own chat the other day, Sunday. All of a sudden, it was just like this. I forget what it was, like this one little icon that come up like 30 times, and of course,
do they have their own Instagram, social media channels and stuff?
They need to.
They're very sweet.
They need to for sure. They're a mess. They are a mess.
Animals are the best, man.
Oh,
a gift from God. Dogs and cats.
They keep you sane a little bit, and especially cats. They keep, and dogs. They both. I got two outside. They're not my dogs. They're the neighbors' dogs, but they stay over here with me and they hang out. And I'll go.
You let them in the house and hang out with the cats?
Nah, I don't live in the house. I don't know. I heard that one of them didn't really like kitties. I don't know, so I didn't want to take a chance. But
test it out, see how they do.
But they're sweet dogs. They turn around and I got a picture of one of the puppies, one of the dogs. I was sitting in a chair and I turned around and she put her paws on my leg, and next thing I know, she's all the way up in my lap. I'm like, get off me! What are you doing here?
She's your dog now?
Yeah, it's my dog. It really is.
You got pictures of them on social, like on Instagram or anything?
I need to.
Throw one up after we get off here in the next couple of days. I'll check them out.
Okay, yeah, I'll put some on there. I need to put some more stuff on my Instagram. I've never. I'm bad at posting.
I've been kicked off so many times, and then I stopped it and just shut it all down. I'm so disgusted by social media, and then I just recently fired everything up again and figured, what the hell? I'm done fighting that battle. I'm just going to put stuff up that I enjoy, and wherever it goes, it goes. I don't care.
There you go. That's what it's about.
If you can get one person that hears the message or hears something that's of interest that causes them to go do some research or wake up to something, it's worth it.
Oh, absolutely. I tell everybody that because I put it in the Billy Graham thought process, because like one person preached to Billy Graham preached to millions. So don't get discouraged that you don't have a really big audience. You only to a small. Who knows what
You
that
never
person.
know where that spark will go.
You never know. So it's amazing, and who you even interact with. I've had that happen with like kids. There's a kid, and my mom was a librarian before she retired, and there was a kid inside her library. I was visiting her and stuff, and mom said something to him about that I do martial arts and stuff like that, and he turned around and he talked to me for like 30, 40 minutes, and I didn't think nothing about it again. Whatever, cool. I was talking to the kid, and he's having a good conversation with me, and I left. I found out later that because of my conversation with him, he told his parents he wanted to do martial arts, and he started doing martial arts. And as far as I know, last I heard, he's still doing martial arts this day. That's been years.
Nice. There you go. There's a perfect example of that.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to
You got to get him on the show and give that testimony.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool. I might have to reach out to mom. Maybe she know how to get a hold of him or something. Because like I said, I don't. She knew him. She knew him from coming in the library all the time. But I'm trying to get my mom to come on. She don't.
Did your mom ever get into conspiracy or look at any of these topics? Because she had all the manuals and the blueprints in her library. A lot of those books.
I think some of it, and then she's had a bunch of like paranormal stuff, like the stuff that happened too. So I'm trying to get her to come on the show, at least one of my shows, and talk and tell stories. She has a real southern accent, so she's like, I don't want to get on there. They'll make fun of my voice. I was like, they're not going to make fun of your voice. You're good. It's
That'll
okay.
be good. Bring her on.
It's going to be all right, Mom. You're good. So I'm gonna still.
I'm looking forward to that one. What's your mom's name?
Mary Jane.
Bring Mary Jane on the show. I'll tune in for that one.
Awesome. Yeah, that's the goal. I need to reach back out to her. I think I had her talk because me and my brother was talking about it, and he said that sounds like a good idea, and he went and bought her a $50 headset so she could get on. And I said, look, you don't even have to put on video. You don't have to do none of that. You can just talk.
Oh man, bring her in the studio there. Put her in the back with the lamp down, just in the dark, and just talk to her a live interview.
There we go. Yeah, I could hook it up for sure. Could do that too. I didn't think about that. I tried. I was like, make it easy as I could. Like I say, you can do it from your house because they live about an hour away, which ain't that bad. But
take a road trip and go see her. She'll appreciate you stopping by.
Oh yeah, no doubt. No doubt about it. I've been trying to keep up in the corner of my eye with this chat. The chat has been
Is anyone tuning in to listen tonight?
Oh yeah, we got lots of the chat is rumbling.
And I was going to turn the chat on, but I didn't want to touch anything on my screen, so the volume went off again. I'm not touching anything, but everybody that's listening tonight, we appreciate it very much.
Oh yeah, it looks like we got several on Rumble, and we got a few on YouTube. So, but the Rumble chat is showing up, and we got let's see who we got. We got Sweets, of course, and Willie and Tate. Karen Carpenter and Michael Strange of Troubled Minds. I don't know if you checked out Troubled Minds radio before.
I have not, but I will. I'm kind of out of the machine of listening to stuff nonstop. I used to digest so much when I was doing my show and having guests on. I kind of stepped away from it a little bit.
Yeah, he comes on. They have their own Troubled Minds radio network. And plus he comes on YouTube and
they going nightly or weekly or just drip out videos when they come up with a topic, or how do they do it?
Sunday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. He comes on and does a live show, and then he'll have people call in. You call in on phone, or you can call in Discord, or
he might have your mom on his show before you have her on yours.
He might. That'd be awesome too, for sure. But he has all kinds of different subjects. He don't mess with politics. They stay away from politics, but anything and everything else, they're up for the discussion and everything.
Nice.
Of course, we got Herschel Sterling's on. He's got a lot of the people on here in the chat. It's awesome because they get their own shows. Hello's there. We got Sweets again. Karen Carpenter and Jason Barker with Knights of the Storm is in the chat.
Hello, Jason and Karen. Good people there. I had a good chat with them. I enjoyed it very much.
Hey, I listened to the whole thing. It was awesome. I said, Don't Obey's there. Carl's here. Who else we got? Karen Peterson's here. Got both Karens in here tonight. We're doing good today. Go up, make sure I don't
Yeah,
miss
when I'm out on
nobody.
the road and rolling from town to town and driving late or traveling, there's nothing I like better than listening to a good long form conversation about a good topic like this.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's the only way you can do it and communicate and have people talk, and it's wonderful. Let's see, we
I
got
heard recently that short form content is now going to be a thing of the past, and the long form content, conversations like this with real meat and potatoes on topics, is going to be the next wave. And a lot of the quote unquote influencers and the people that just churn out content for clicks and scroll stopping power is going to go away. So I would welcome that, because there's nothing better of just digging into a good topic and having a good conversation.
Oh, absolutely. I've learned so much listening to people talk, and to hear somebody say something like, huh, and I go in there and I start digging, start doing some searches real quick to put it on my phone,
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You
or
might
get back
hear
up and get on my
something.
computer.
Yeah, you might hear something, and if you listen with discernment, something sparks and go, "Oh, I need to do some research on that." And you go deeper into it, and then you go down that. And the person that brought you that information might not. It could be a complete thing of misinformation, or a psyop, as they call it. But if you pull out a nugget and go on your own path for it, that's the way to do it. I've done that many, many times.
Oh yeah, I got my notepad here on the computer, and it's full of different stuff and different topics, and all the way across the board, and um, it's fun. It's fun to dig through there. See, we got Flower Sour is in the chat also. Let's see what else we got in here. Let's
You
make sure
got a
we
good crew there, man.
Yeah, Angry Tiger. We he is in the chat. I remember seeing him earlier. Man, they have been rumbling on here. The Rumble chat has been rumbling.
What does that mean when they're rumbling and rumble? Just talking, just chatting.
Yeah, just talking. Yeah, that's just my word on for it. Just there. Is just they're really, which is I'm blessed. We have a very smart chat, very smart people in the chat, and they, a lot of times I would look over it. We having discussions, um, and some days, I've come in. I was like, man, I'm gonna probably want to do a show of like 2 hours, and we did it. Me and James from South Cedar Paranormal did it. A show on Sunday a few weeks ago, and I was like, well, we just do a couple hours, and it got slow. At first, it was whatever, me and him talking, and then with the chat, just adding asking questions and pulling stuff in there, and next thing you know, we did 5.5 hours.
Wow. Yeah, it doesn't take long. You can get underway, and man, the sun can start coming up before you know it.
Oh, absolutely. It's so easy. Absolutely, for sure. Oh yeah, Miss Karen said make sure you tell your story for sure before you get out of here. Uh, about
Which part of the story? There's a lot of stories I could tell you.
I think the comeback story of you being on the bottom and coming back up. I think that's the one she was referencing there.
Yeah, I'll remind everybody that's listening tonight, if people are aware of what's happening and people are awake to some degree, they know things aren't going well, right? And it's difficult times just from your bills and the health situation of a lot of people around us, and just normal life as we know it. People get old, people get sick. We have constant struggles, relationships break down, you lose jobs, and there's highs and lows. It's the roller coaster of life. And I am blessed that I get to tell just a bit of my story anytime I can. I grew up playing music my whole life. I thought that was going to be my path. Grew up in the Midwest in the suburbs of Chicago. My gramps was a businessman, respected guy. I look up to him as like one of my heroes in life. I loved him so much, and was always kind of the role model. So I did music my whole life with my brother up until like my 20s, and had a lot of fun doing it, and thought that was going to be the path. But I think subconsciously I always thought, man, the business world is where I need to be, and really didn't realize even at the time that the music business was enough of a business. I could have stayed in that path, but I put that on the shelf, went into the business world, and did a couple different things, and ended up being an insurance broker for a period of time, and was very successful in the beginning and had a good trajectory. I had a good path set out for me. If I wouldn't have screwed it up, you and I wouldn't have been talking. So that this would never have happened. So for a lot of reasons, it's everything happened like it should, because we're here now and I'm able to tell this story. Who knows what would have happened, but I was an insurance broker and was pretty successful for a while. And with that thing, for me, I always wanted to have my own business. I had my own shop, my own brokerage. So I did that, built up my book and bought my client base from the shop that I was working at, and then opened my own insurance brokerage and did that in 2006 to kind of set the timeline. So 2006, I opened my own brokerage and I did energy and construction. So heavy contracting, oil and gas, refining, pipelines, road construction, digging, a lot of high risk companies, a lot of high risk work, a lot of people that paid a lot of money for their insurance. So it was a good thing when times were good. You could build up a good business, but when times were bad, which is what happened, you can lose a lot of business and you lose all your income. So that's exactly what happened to me. I bought my book of business and had a big payment for it every month. And that was my income stream, 2006. And then everything that happened in 2008 happened in my industry, in my world, about a year earlier, 2007. So I started the economy in that industry, and that industry group started collapsing. So I started losing clients left and right. They started losing their jobs. And when that happened, they just canceled their insurance, maintained the bare minimum, and all that income, all that commission goes away like instantly. So all of 2007, all my clients were going away and all that income stream that I was still paying for disappeared. So now I'm going upside down. And it got really, really bad. And I was like just bleeding money and trying to do everything I could to keep the ship afloat. And my relationship broke up and I liquidated anything that I ever owned that had any value to try to keep the lights on. And in my business, I collected all the money. I had a trust account. So all my clients that paid their insurance premiums, they came into me, into the trust account, and then that got distributed to the carriers, the insurance companies, and my commission was kept out of that. So there's a lot of money sitting in there, even though everything was collapsing. So I came to a crossroads. I could not get enough biz to replace the stuff I was losing, and I was in complete financial collapse, and nobody knew about it. I didn't tell my family. I didn't tell anybody. I kept it all to myself. And a lot of people go, were you drinking? Were you doing drugs to deal with it? No, man, I'm the kind of personality I need to be fully aware and in tune. Even when I'm in my demise, I need to have full awareness of the situation. So I didn't go drown myself, but I could have done that, I guess. I don't know if that would have helped or made it worse. But so I'm losing all my clients, losing all my money. And to try to right the ship, I was at the crossroads, I call it. And you're down in the South there, so you know the story of being at the crossroads, right? Mm-hmm. I was at the crossroads in real life, and I thought I could take a little bit of money out of that trust account and keep paying the bills, and I'll get some new business, and I'll be able to right the ship, and I'll be able to put that money back, and no one will ever know, and everything will be good. And I knew before I ever did it, at that crossroads, that was highly illegal because you can't touch that money. That's your fiduciary as being a licensed insurance broker, right, with financial services. But I did it. And the exact opposite of what I thought was going to happen happened. I didn't get any new business. I kept losing. I couldn't right the ship. And now I've committed the crime. And you've got every time I transferred 10 grand or more from that trust account into my business operating account to pay rent and pay payroll and to try to keep the lights on, that's a class 2 felony. So at the end of the day, after that 6 months or wherever it was when I was trying to do that, I had committed, 27, 28 felonies with each wire transfer. So put that on the shelf, okay? So when all of this was going on, before I used that money that didn't belong to me, that was highly illegal, that I knew was illegal, I tried to right the ship. I immediately, when I lost my line of credit that I had bought that book of business with, and I don't mean to get too into the weeds on the specifics, but it's important for the story, and I'm sure people will understand this. Before I dipped my hand in the cookie jar, so to speak, I had tried to fix things. I contacted all my insurance companies. I contacted the Department of Insurance and said, look, I'm stuck. The bank that had my note for the book of business is calling it in, and they're going to suck it out of my account. So I'm going to be upside down and I'm losing business. I've got like a perfect storm here, but I need some help. I need you guys to help me restructure the debt. And they said, we'll do it. I remember AIG. If anybody knows AIG, they're pretty well known in the biz before they changed their name after the big 2008 bailout. AIG was one of my biggest insurance carriers, and I was very successful with them. And I called my reps over there, and they said, we're going to help you. We're going to give you not only the money you need to keep going, but we're going to give you a little extra so you can weather the storm. And I thought, thank God. I raised my hand. I said, I'm stuck. I told everybody the truth about what was happening. I'm losing business. My line of credit's getting called back in. I need help, and they're going to help me. Well, fast forward to a couple months down the road, that loan never came through. I actually got it as a personal phone call from my guy in New York at AIG who said, Scott, I can't get support for your loan anymore. I'm not going to have a job here in a couple days, and you're going to see all about it on the news very shortly. And sure enough, I woke up a couple days later, and AIG needs whatever the amount of was bailout. The whole economy has collapsed, the derivatives market, all that kind of stuff. Everybody knows the story. And my whole world collapsed. And at that moment, before I thought I could right the ship, I knew I'm done, man. I'm cooked. I'm not going to be able to fix this. And I took a drive, and there's so many details of this. I don't think the details matter, but I was ready to end my life because all I had left was a couple $1,000,000 of life insurance. And I figured, I'm going to go turn the lights off. All the bills will get paid. All this mess will get cleaned up. There's more than enough money sitting there with the insurance proceeds. Everybody will have a big party, and I'll see them on the other side. That was my thought process. And I planned accordingly. I'm not proud to say it, but I researched like what the best way to do it, the best way to end my life, and all the things with that, and had a couple different ideas and said, I can't do that. I can't do this. One of the resounding things was always, I can't have my mom finding me that way or like that. So I decided I was just going to put a gun in my mouth, turn the lights off. So I took a drive one morning up to the mountains, a place called Jerome, Arizona, a beautiful little, cool little town in the woods up north, and pulled off to the side of the road and wrote my letter that I was going to say goodbye to everybody to, and put the gun in my mouth. And I was like a split second from pulling the trigger. I mean, I was right there. And in my mind, I said, God, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. If you get me through this, I'll use it to do some good. That's what I was saying in my mind. And it felt like I was sitting there an hour. Maybe I was only sitting there for 30 seconds or 5 seconds. I don't know. But I was sitting in there, and I know tears were coming down my eyes, and I had that gun in my mouth, and I said that. And I put the gun down and went back down to the valley and dealt with all the problems. And I had a couple of years of just hell. And I got indicted by the Attorney General's office for all those wire transfers of fraudulent schemes and artifices they call it, and money laundering and all those things. They put every charge on there, and called my lawyer, and he said, Scott, it would have been better for you to get taken out on the evening news in handcuffs from your office. I could have defended that. You already told everybody what the problem was and what you were dealing with and doing, and I can't defend you. You've already admitted guilt on all this stuff. So all I can do is mitigate your prison sentence. So I was accepting of that. I'm already now at this point, a year and a half maybe of being beyond that moment up in Jerome with the gun in my mouth. And I had already accepted and knew what my fate was. So I was already planning I was going to go to prison for a year or 2 years, whatever it was going to be when I had to go to my sentencing. And when I got out, I was already putting this plan together of I'm going back to music because that's my first love. That's what I've been put on this place to do. And I'm going to tell my story to anyone that will hear it and use a combination of the music and me telling that story to try to do some good, to keep that promise that I made in that car that day to God. And I was just planning it out. I was just going to put a little tour together and go tell the story and play fundraisers, try to help them raise money with them having me at their event, playing some music and telling that story. And that's what I planned on doing. So fast forward, the legal battle finally comes to an end. It wasn't really a battle. I just had to go and admit guilt before the judge that summer of 2011. And that was, as I always say, the most demoralizing day of my life because, Mr. Helmer, how do you plead? I plead guilty. I felt like the biggest loser in the world because for me, being a kid from the suburbs of Chicago that had a grandfather who was a successful businessman who did everything on the up and up, I was the black sheep of the family in my town and of my circle, and I was just the scum of the earth. So that was a tough day. And I remember the judge saying at that when I pled guilty, he goes, "Mr. Helmer, I'll see you back here on September 1st." This was June something that I was there. "I have to review a lot of information on your case, and when I see you back here for your sentencing, we'll see how it goes," something to that effect. And so I always say, needless to say, that was the longest, hottest summer in Arizona I ever spent, just preparing to go to prison. But I was in a completely different mode because I was already accepting that I was going to go. I'd be out in whatever it was, a year, 2 years. I had no idea. But I was already moved beyond mentally in my mind that I was going to go keep this promise and do this work. So I was okay with it. So I go down early in the morning, September 1st, to my sentencing, and I was blown away because so many people spoke on my behalf, clients that were clients of mine who spoke and wrote letters. I had letters from all former clients and people I have done business with. A lot of kind of the resounding thing was, if Scott would have just told us that he was stuck and needed some help, we would have helped them in a second. Like, my whole deal came down to about 250 grand. That's what I was dealing with. And they were like, "Man, I would have given Scott that money in a heartbeat." He never told us because I was too proud. I had to fix it all myself. And eventually it was like putting toothpaste back in the tube. I couldn't fix it. So I was blown away by that. And I remember the judge basically stopping the people that were in line to talk on my behalf at my sentencing, say, "Folks, I've heard enough today. I've made my decision." And I'll never forget it. He said, "Mr. Helmer, stand up." And I did. And he said, "When you came into my courtroom today, I was sending you to prison. But because you raised your hand when you got stuck," and I'm paraphrasing here, I've never pulled the transcript, nor do I want to. But he said, basically, you told the truth when you got stuck and nobody helped you. And I don't know why. And he goes, basically, if I think people would have known what was going to happen with the economy back in 2008 when all this happened, and shortly thereafter, they would have helped you out, or they would have been more apt to work with you. So I'm sending you back out in the world, take care of the bill, and go be a free man and be a productive member of society. And so that's what I did. I walked out of that courtroom, and within a couple months, that would have been September. By January, I was on the road. I borrowed an old pickup truck from my mom, hit the road and started playing those fundraising concerts and just going from town to town. I told my whole story from the beginning. So I had a press release out that told kind of all the details that I just told you guys. And I said, "I'm here today to remind everybody, no matter how bad things get, no matter how much hope you have lost, suicide is not the answer, and you can make a comeback." And I'm living proof of that here today, either talking on this interview in this town or doing this podcast or performing live at this fundraiser. Suicide is not the answer. You can make a comeback, and I am living proof of that. And that's what I did, and went from town to town and just kept going and going. And I always tell the story, which I think is very important. For me, I put all those gory details, all the embarrassing stuff in those press releases and in those interviews, and everything was on the table. People could ask me whatever they want. Basically, what was my story? I almost went to prison. I committed a crime. I used money that didn't belong to me. And at the end of the day, they saw that I wasn't buying boats and houses and taking, vacations and all that stuff. They saw that I was using it to try to keep the business afloat. Doesn't mean that it wasn't illegal, but that was the reason. And that's what kept me out of jail, out of prison, because, I always say the truth will set you free. And in that place, it really did, because I had told the truth long before that. And that's what kept me out of there. So that's why I was there. And early on, I'm just doing little fundraisers. So I would send that out in mass, and people would pick up on it. Like I was doing Wounded Warrior fundraisers and suicide prevention, just nothing big and elaborate, just little get-togethers. They were very powerful. Might roll into a small town, and I always tell the story. I'm in Midland, Odessa, doing a Wounded Warriors benefit, and there might be a couple hundred people there. They got barbecue going. It's a beautiful event, beautiful day. I play my set of music, tell a little bit of my story, and after when I'm done, little girl comes up to me with her mom, holding their mom's hand, and I knew this was going to be something. I just couldn't figure out what it was, but I knew this was a powerful moment. I could just feel it. And she turns to her mom, and her mom tells her, "You tell him." And she goes, kind of questioning. She goes, "You tell him. You know what to say. You tell him." So I'm just looking at her now, wondering what she's going to tell me. And the little girl, who I think was maybe a 7th grader, said, "I was going to do what you were going to do because I didn't get a date for the dance, but we heard your radio interview, which would have been about 2 weeks before I was there in town. Just a quick little call in the morning on the radio show. I think it was a country music station. And I told a bit of that story." And she goes, "I was going to do what you were going to do because I didn't get a date for the dance, but I didn't. And we're here today." And now I'm almost in tears. I look at her mom. Her mom is sobbing. And the little girl has the biggest smile on her face in the world, grinning from ear to ear, that she had told me that story. And I knew in that moment, God, thank you. And everything that's happened has been worth it. And if nothing happens after this day, if I get hit by a cement truck later on today, it's all been worth it because of that moment right there, that somebody heard that message that your life matters and suicide is not the answer, no matter how bad it gets. And I always tell people, that little girl in that moment, her whole world was revolving around, she got rejected for a date at the dance at her junior high, right? For her, that was the biggest thing in the world. Things that we would think are so insignificant, like I've lost so many jobs or had business problems way before the insurance debacle. You lose clients, you lose this, you lose that. Oh, that was always no worries. We'll get something else put together. Or people have a divorce or a relationship breaks up, or they lose a job, or they get sick. All these different things, they're all relative to what they're dealing with. And it might be the biggest thing in their life that causes them to say, "I want to end my life because this happened. I just lost this job. And my whole job is my identity. My family relies on this money, and I have all these responsibilities, and I'm a total failure, and I'm just going to turn the lights off." Or I got a divorce, or a little 7th grader doesn't get a date for the dance, and she wants to do that. And I've learned that along this journey of doing this now for almost 15 years, people are struggling with things we never know about. Everyone around us, everyone listening to this show right now, everyone you will meet when you leave the house tomorrow and go out in the world, regardless of what you're doing, all the people around us, everyone's struggling with things. Could be sickness, could be struggling with the things that are going on in this world, could be something in their family, could be things we're not even talking about right now that would be equally as powerful. So I always remind everybody, if you take nothing else from this talk tonight, move with love in the world with everyone you come in contact with as much as possible, because everyone's fighting some sort of battle. And if we can just do that, I think the world will be a lot better place. And I'm guilty of it. I have to remind myself of this every day, sometimes multiple times a day, because there's a lot of idiots out there that upset us. We've talked about all these things before. We talked about this tonight, of these things that are going on. But the majority of people around us, they're good people. We're all equal. We're all created by God. We all have a reason to be here. We are all special. Even if I'm telling this to people listening to this right now, if nobody's ever told you that in your life, that you matter and you're special and you're here for a reason, if you've never been told that, or you've been told that and you've just lost the hope, or you've lost that, you are, and I'm telling you that right now. Suicide is never the answer. Don't throw in the towel. And me talking to you tonight is an example of that. And I did the worst thing in the world, in my world, of where I thought it would be justified to do that. So I tell everybody, you're here for a reason, even if you haven't figured it out yet, if you've forgotten it, and we can accomplish so many more things if we work together instead of always being at odds with each other as much as possible. That's really the simple message. Your life matters, and never give up. And I will tell everybody listening to this, you might go, "Oh, this guy's full of this. It's like some motivation talk." No, it's not. It's real. And I have to remind myself of this daily, if not multiple times a day, that never lose hope, keep going. You know, we have to endure. We have to endure until God says it's not your time and you're done. And until then, never throw in the towel, keep going. That's the most important message here. You are loved, your life matters, you matter, and it doesn't feel like that. And you're hearing from a guy that has lost hope. And I was at the lowest point in my life. And I can tell you from being there, when you lose hope and you lose everything, you can lose jobs, monies, relationships, but when you don't have hope, that is a personal connection between you and God, whatever your belief in is spiritually. But when you lose hope, man, you've lost it all. There's nothing left. I know it. I've been there. And so I'm telling everybody that hears this tonight live, or if you know somebody that needs to hear this message, send them to my website, send them this clip, let them hear this and know that you can make a comeback and never give up. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you sharing that. I've seen the chat. They're very thankful for you sharing that, and I'm thankful for you sharing that for sure. I was thinking you were talking about the Wooden Warriors and stuff. I just got on a side note for me, I got the Defy Foundation approved me. Like I said, I got a martial arts school. Well, Defy Foundation has for wounded soldiers, wounded vets. If you're disabled, physically, mentally, whatever. As long as you have a disability, you can apply for there. If you want to do martial arts, if you want to do jiu-jitsu and stuff, and they'll pay for you. So if you're a wounded vet and you want to do jiu-jitsu, you can actually turn around and you apply through them, and then you turn around and they'll put you with schools. And so I got approved Monday for it.
Nice.
And I'll be the only one in the kind of the tri-state area with it. You got to drive probably several hundred miles to get to another school that's been part of the program. So,
have you seen that kind of work and people doing that are struggling help them? Have you seen it help them?
I have. I've seen it so many times. I've seen it with kids. I'll tell the story all the time. I've had parents come up to me and thank me and say, thank you for helping, saving my child. And just saying it straight like that. It's like, thank you for saving my child. They were in a dark place and they needed that camaraderie. I know I've had kids that all they want to do is sit in their room and do nothing. They were just kind of like, they were just existing. And then they come and found jiu-jitsu and found martial arts and turn around and start training. And then boom, they exploded and are very talented and are, them are phenom level kind of thing. It's like they're gifted. And like I said, I've had several parents over the years, for young adults and teenagers and adults and, young kids. And it's like, it just kind of reminds me like, this is why, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Sometimes like, you get tired and like money gets tight or whatever. And it's like, man, am I doing the right thing? And then turn around, I have somebody come up to me like that. And I know it helps too. It just gives you that release for that mental, you need some kind of distraction, kind of deal. And you can, I tell everybody all the time, like you can have a good day and you can actually turn around and like, man, I'm having a terrible day. And I've done it myself and like, hey, let me spar with, a couple guys I know I can spar hard with, and like they're not
changes your whole perspective, right?
Yeah, and then afterwards, like, I'm good. I've seen my guys. I've seen I've had adults and turn around and they go there and just beat the devil out of the punching bag, and they do it for about 10 minutes straight, and then they get down and turn around and you feel better now? I'm like, yeah, actually I do. I'm like, yeah, you got that. You use that negative energy and you turn it into a positive, and a lot of people use lift weights, go to the gym and do that. So just using that negative and turn it into a positive. So I'm really blessed that hopefully I'll be able to help a lot of wounded vets and disabled.
Amen, man. That's fabulous.
Should be fun. It should be a fun journey for sure. Once we start that, I think they should be getting me on the website and all that good stuff. Like I said, I just signed a contract just Monday or Tuesday or something like that. So. Monday I signed the contract. So,
I'm guilty of this too, but I think a lot of people, we worry about so many things down the line, next week, next month, next year, that have never happened, never are going to happen, and lose sight of living today. making the most of today. And I'm guilty of this too. I get caught up in all the what ifs and all the things that are unraveling in the world and in my own life and all the things that just happen in life, being a human, living a human experience here. If we can just reset, like your example right there of just, hey, I'm in a bad place right now. Let's do something right now to make that shift of physical activity, sparring, the bag, whatever it is, like you just described. It changes everything. And then just focus on that moment, that day, right? Tomorrow's a new day. It hasn't even been here yet. It might not come. Just focus on right now. Do the best we can. Somebody told me that a long time ago. Just do your best. Do your best you can in any situation. Your best in some situations is going to be god awful. You're going to be horrible, and it's going to be really bad. But if you just try your best, it's going to very powerful in a lot of situations.
Oh, absolutely. And just that. I like that saying that keep on keeping on and
keep on trucking.
That's it. And you do, and you need to separate sometimes. And and some people can't. Some people can't do this, but like for real, like we've done it with the show several times. We had a the show's talking with Conspiracy, but one day I was like, look, we're not doing any politics whatsoever. Nothing, a lot of bullshit in the world going on, nothing like that. We're going to talk Bigfoot and conspiracies and whatever, anything, other subject you want to. We're going to talk about that today. That's it. And we had the chat was good, and the guest I had on there was talking back and forth, and
the Bigfoot therapy sessions. I like it.
That's it. I mean, it just it's important to everything we talked about tonight is very important. And like that old saying, if you don't pay attention to politics will pay attention to you.
Oh yeah.
But you gotta disconnect every once in a while. You can't let it overcome you. And
well, I try to make it easy. I know that politics is all theater. It's all a scam, and it's all down here above what's really going on. I haven't talked about a lot of these things for a long time, a couple of years before I started doing a couple interviews again, like talking to you tonight. And it caused me to think about, I have to be okay. I did the radio show and then I got kicked off of everything, right? So all my stuff got censored. I got kicked off, and I was just like, okay, I did a couple hundred episodes. I touched all the big topics that I thought were important. I got kicked off. I got sued. I got all these things. I'm just done with it. I'm moving on. And I was okay with that. And then coming back and talking about these subjects again, with the conspiracy stuff and all the things going on as things are elevating and ramping up, I came to and it's tough for me to get into this mode every day. I have a difficult time with this, but I have to remind myself, and I'm paraphrasing, but God said that we can't change this. It's already in motion, or it's already written and destined to be. Whether we believe in that or not, or whether it's exactly interpreted that way or whatever, let's just say that it is predestined and we can't change this. We're also told that we have to endure to the end. And we have to stand up and speak out when we see wrongdoing. So in the correct order, we can't change anything. It's going to happen like it's going to happen. And we have to stand up when we see wrongdoing and speak out against it. And we have to endure to the end. And when I started doing talks again and talking about these topics over the last month or so, I really had to pull that back up and dial it in and have to be okay with that, because I thought when I would do my radio show and I had a little bit of action going and I had all these listeners and I had my music and everything going, it was all kind of a big snowball and I had a pretty good audience. I'm going to make some change here. I don't think it did anything. Maybe it did something. I don't know. I don't know. And then I was completely dejected when I see things getting worse and worse and worse. And then I've come back to it and talked about these things and telling my story and stuff. And I kind of have to be okay with, I can't change this. It might be how it's going to be, but we have to endure. And that ties into my story. You can't give up. We have to keep going. And to remind everybody, if you're struggling with something, tell somebody about it. Either call the suicide hotline. Somebody you don't even know, they'll be there 24/7. You can talk to those people and just sometimes that will help. Or tell the people that are around you, whether you have one person in your life that's your friend, or you have 100 friends, or your loved one, or somebody. Because the power of people working together, you can solve any problem. You can solve any problem. I know this. Doesn't mean it's going to work out exactly like you want, but you will have people around you that you never thought that will help you get through this and weather the storm. And we have to have faith in God and Jesus, you know. That's my view on it anyway.
Absolutely. It's, I think that's what some people have trouble with. Like they get a narrative in their head and they're like, oh, it's got to be this way. It's got to exactly be this way, and if that's not God's path for you and not God's way, then you won't go that way.
Some of the greatest gifts I've been given were the exact opposite of what I thought I wanted to have happen in the moment. That's a true blessing. I mean, that's like the magic of the universe, or a gift from God, I call it, because those things are amazing. Like it needs to do this, this, and this. And I planned it out and I mapped it all out. And then the exact opposite happens. And oh my gosh, that was exactly how it was supposed to be. And that was better than I ever could have imagined it turned out. Right.
Absolutely. And you talking about the shows and stuff. Like I tell our audience, I'm like, I don't make any money. Like even the sponsored by in the front is my friends. Like I put my friends that, I say, hey, do you want me to put your show or your thing on front? Yeah. And so I just promote my friends. That's all I do. So
what if people want to make a donation to help keep the lights on? How do they do that?
I do have I got a, what is it? Buy a cup of coffee. I do have a cup of coffee. It can do,
is that live down chat somewhere down in the description?
Yeah, it's down I got the link tree and, there's buy a cup of coffee if you want to do that.
Coffee's getting pretty expensive too, so you might be able to make some dough with that, man.
I do have shirts.
Anybody listening that comes across this, buy him a cup of coffee, will you? Because he's doing good work here.
Yeah, for sure. I got shirts. I sell some merch and stuff like that. But it's not about that. It's not to me. If I get to the point where I'm breaking even, I'll be awesome. But I'm not worried about that. I'm more worried about if I'm able to help people and it's bringing people together and good to get information and getting people talking, and that's just my goal,
Yeah, because you never know the ripple effect of where the information or something we've talked about tonight or on any of your shows, where it's going to travel and who it's going to impact.
Absolutely. I've had people come up, just on my show alone. I've had people come up to me that randomly, like they're on my Facebook or something like that. I didn't even know they'd listen to the show. Like they never, like they listen, they lurking, and in the chat. And they're sitting around and I appreciate you, Wild West. He said, "Don't spike the coffee." I haven't drank in like 15 years, so you're good on the spiking part. I don't drink anymore. I got some bottles over there, but I got one bottle of tequila that was bought 3 days before I was born, back in July of '79.
Does tequila get better with age, or do you have to consume it?
I don't know. I imagine it's pretty strong. I'd be scared of it. It's still got the worm in it though.
Oh, wow.
Just have that in there.
Does that worm start moving at all, or is it staying and frozen in time?
Yeah, you can just wiggle it around and stuff. It's Then I got a bottle of Crystal Skull vodka, and I got
the Dan Aykroyd vodka, right?
Yeah, that's the Dan Aykroyd. That's the reason I bought it. It was cool. I was like, how I love Dan Aykroyd and Ghostbusters and stuff. I was like, well, I'll buy that. And then I bought a alien head bottle. It's a green alien head. It's just like cool stuff like that. I collect stuff like that, and nice. I used to have it in the background, like behind me, when I was at my old house before I built this, and so it's fun stuff like that, and it just helps reaffirm myself. Like I don't need to drink. If I needed to, I got it here, but I don't need to drink. I'm good.
Nice.
I can focus and do what I need to do without doing any of that. Not that if it's wrong or if nobody takes a drink, it's good. It's all right. But I know me.
Buy Ricky a cup of coffee. What do you do? Black coffee with cream? What's your style?
Dr. Pepper. That's all.
Oh, wow. You don't heat that up, though, do you? You keep that chilled?
No. Yeah. I don't drink. My parents and my brother, I even buy the Death Wish coffee. Have you seen that? It's like 200 times stronger. I buy that for my mom from time to time. She loves it. They love coffee, but I don't know why. I like the smell of it, like in a coffee shop, the smell in the coffee shop. I like that, but the actual taste, I just can't. I've never been able to do it.
Man, I love it. I'm drinking some right now.
I like to say my grandfather and my parents and stuff, they drink it. They could drink it late at night. They don't care. They're gonna go to bed.
Yeah, it doesn't affect me. I could have it and be sleeping 10 minutes later.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't know, just that mocha flavor, or whatever. I remember she bought me something. I forget what it was. Probably a frappuccino or something like that. And she was like, "Yeah, it's ice cream." She's trying to trick me, and I drank it. I was like, "This is coffee," and she's like, "But it's da 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 da," and she's at the whole name. I was like, "But it's coffee, mom. I'm good. I'm here. Y'all can have this back." She was so upset.
I'm sure they
So
have a
upset with
Dr.
me.
Pepper type coffee drink you could get going there.
Oh yeah, yeah. I actually put it when you click on the link for the buy me a coffee. It actually says buy me a Dr Pepper. You can change the wording in it, so it's kind of. I thought it was
Nice.
funny. So
Nice. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
that's the
sweet.
moral of the story for people is never give up and move with love, man, because I mean, we're just talking about some examples here tonight. Everybody's dealing with some stuff all the time. It never goes away. And if we can work together and try to have some compassion with that, man, the whole world be a different place.
For sure, for
We
sure.
got these demons coming down on us every time, every angle, trying to pit us against each other at all times over race, religion, imaginary lines in the sand, all those different kinds of things. My team versus your team. It's all meant to divide and conquer, And when you have a divided house in your own place, boy, that makes it more stressful than anything.
Oh, no doubt. And I remind everybody too, especially if you get on social media, and I've shown the videos of it. Like you get on social media and you get on there, you start arguing with people. Then I'll show the videos of the bot farms. Like, look, this is who you're arguing with. Unless you know the person, this is who you're arguing with. You're arguing with phones with AI that's been programmed to piss you off. And
I mean,
that's
that should show people how powerful it is to keep people divided, and how how they're able to divide and conquer. That they would put that much work into those bot farms, for example, to move the consciousness of people and keep them pitted against each other. They know the power of doing that to us, so don't fall for the trick.
Oh, absolutely. We there's power in the truth, and there's power in the people. If we all just woke up one day and went, wait a minute, we were all being lied to, it'd just be amazing, amazing thing.
There's a reason that saying the truth will set us free, not violence and war, not any of those things. The truth, that's all it is. That saying, the truth is like a lion. You don't have to defend it. Just let it loose and it takes care of itself. Again, I'm paraphrasing and butchering it, but that's the thing, man. The truth came out. There wouldn't need to be you wouldn't have to explain it. You wouldn't have to talk people into it. It's just there. It's easy to see.
Absolutely, and it's just rewarding. I wish we could do, and just let it all out. I wish we could. Cat Williams was talking about all the truth is going to come to everything going to come to light, and when he was on that interview and stuff, and I was still hoping for that. I mean, I people are like, well, I think people can handle it. There'd be some people that be kind of like lost or kind of upset, but I really wish like all of it, the whole veil be pulled off, like the whole of Hollywood, all the veil of all the politicians. I still say politicians
When
need
do
to
you
have
think it's happening? When do you think we're going to have the full veil pulled back, full reveal?
Oh, hopefully soon. We need it soon. We need it
You
soon.
need to get a survey going in the chat. What do they think, right?
Yeah, really. What do y'all think, chap? Do you think we'll actually ever get to everything pulled back and everybody seeing actually what's going on? I see numbers are slowly going up and more, and like I said, you can't trust social media because half of it's little bot farms now. I turned around and even said that I was advertising on like Facebook for my gym and stuff like that. Then they came out. It's like, well, a lot of it's you know bots they're liking. I'm like, well, I can't teach bots how to do martial arts. I don't need bots. So I'm not
Doesn't do you any good.
giving
It's
you.
just a waste of
Yeah, I'm
money
not giving
flushing
you.
it down the drain,
Yeah,
right?
I'm not giving you any more money to have bots like my little post right here, and I never see anybody. And I'm like, hell,
See,
I
that's the
just.
important thing. People should remember that. And coming from a guy that had a show and talked about all these things publicly, it's a totally different ballgame to do like what you're doing or what I did or like what I do with my music now, of publicly planting the flag and having your position. And a lot of times your position is going against the grain and isn't very popular and causes people to think, or it starts a dialogue, right? Whether they agree with it or not, they just have to think about it and realize, oh, I got to think about that, what he's saying, and figure out if that's right or wrong. It's a totally different ballgame to sit back and listen to things and consume content versus creating it or putting it out in the world. Not that to say that everybody has to do that, but there comes with consequences a lot of the times, and people really should think about if there's somebody you vibe with or if there's a message getting out there. You have the power. You know, you as the creator doing the show and interviewing people and talking to people, you can only do so much, you know, and now, especially like you're talking about with social media and paid ads and everything, you could put thousands of dollars to promote your show and spread it around, but is it really going to do any good? Probably, maybe not. Or I have a song out and it has a message that affects people. They have to take control and spread the word. I can't, there's only so much I can do, you know, and everything people are fighting against every day is the machine. Meaning if there's people can sit back and tune into the Super Bowl and watch some demonic public display that's telling their kids that they can be whatever gender they want, or some satanic ritual or whatever the hell they got going on with that thing in the halftime show. And they can keep tuning in and supporting that stuff, or they could find something else to support and to spread the word about if they align with that better. I mean, the people have the choice. And I know people love football, and I'm not using that as, attacking that. I'm just saying there's a classic example. How many videos do they need to make of look at this satanic ritual, or look at this depraved thing they're doing at the Super Bowl show that they've been doing for 20 years, and they're going to do it again this year and next year. And people just tune in and I'm loving it. This is fantastic. Well, if you don't like it, stop watching it. Or if you find somebody else that has a better message, you have the power. We all see a good video on social media and we share it with everybody we know, right? You see a cat video or a dog video or something cute that somebody's doing, and what do? You grab your phone, look at this, and you send it to 10 people, and it spreads. That's how those things go viral. Well, do you have somebody that's saying a message that you think is important? Do the same thing, because if you don't, we're all going to pay the price for it, right? And the people that really do stick their neck out to varying degrees, it comes with consequences. I'm here to tell you that it really does come with consequences, and sometimes very negative consequences, financially, spiritually, relationships, jobs, all those things. So people, if there's something out there they like, they want to spread, you got to do it and tell everybody you know about it.
Oh, for sure. That's the beauty of like this show. That's what I've had is like the people are just word of mouth. Like people are like, hey, y'all gotta come check this out. And I go on other shows or just chat, and then Willie's Desert Hangout. He's in there. He just plays music and stuff, and it's just a laid back little channel on YouTube. And he's always shouting.
What's the name of his channel?
Willie's Desert Hangout.
Is he in the desert hanging out and jamming, or where's he at?
Yes, he is. He's in there, Arizona.
Nice.
And he'll actually sometimes he's actually driving around and showing the sights and stuff and playing music in his truck, and just got the phone there and just going live and having a good time with the chat and talking. And
so people got to support that guy, buy his tunes, or people don't understand, like with people ask me about like Oliver Anthony and stuff and that messaging, because he went viral a couple of years ago or whatever it was, and now he's in the machine. He's with Live Nation on a tour and all this stuff, and he's making a couple $100,000 a show or whatever they got going on. And people don't understand that if they aligned with that message, that thing went viral. Whether there was a push from the machine behind the scenes to push that narrative, I don't know. That's another topic. But like the gentleman you're talking about, if people like that, buy his song on iTunes, because if a couple thousand people went and bought his tune, it would chart and it couldn't be ignored. Whatever he's singing about, they would have to pay attention, because if a no name, not a nobody, a no name, just meaning somebody doesn't know about, because everybody's got value. People refer to me sometime, oh, that's that nobody. No, you're just a no name. You're just not known by the machine. Don't worry about it. If a couple thousand people went and bought that guy's song or shared it and it went viral on YouTube and started getting picked up by the algorithm, whatever he's singing about, it can't be ignored. And the people would have to say, hey, what's the message there? Hey, maybe we need to think about what they're talking about. And maybe it charts on the iTunes chart, and then it gets picked up by press. And if he's talking about, I'm not saying that he does, but if he has a message in his music, that could, by the people, get picked up and proliferated. And there you go. You're helping platform somebody that's really trying to do some good and putting the message out there. You know, the people do have a power to some degree, even if we've been told we don't, you know?
No, for sure. You know, actually, you know, just being, you know, just sharing content and telling other people about stuff. And like the group that we're, you know, that kind of apart with the Knights of Storm and Troubled Minds, uh, Dave's Waffle House over in England. He always shouts me out too, you know, and we
They
cross
have Waffle
pollinate.
Houses in the UK.
That's what his YouTube channel is called, and he shows all kinds of stuff. He has lots of fun. He has like duck races and all kinds of silly stuff, but he has fun. And but it's, you know, everybody said, okay, hey, you need to go check this out, you know. And the Knights of Storm, they're on there, like, hey, they had me on their show, and they're like, all right, you need to go check out Ricky. And then I'm like, okay. Then I turned around and I had another friend. One of his shows went live, so I was like, okay. So I rated his show with my show, and turned around. We went over there and got him new viewers, and it's just it's a pretty nice dynamic of what we're doing and trying to spread out the knowledge and spread out the people and let it
Yeah, I mean, if
for
people are appalled by what's happening in the world around them and they don't like the choices and being force-fed the narratives that they really don't agree with, then cut that stuff off and support the people with the time that you have or the resources. Or, you know, everybody's busy, everybody's got stuff going on. But if you really do support and spread that stuff around, it does help, and it makes it worthwhile for the people that are creating it and putting their necks out and publicly planting a flag, because that can be difficult.
Oh, absolutely. And Sweets in the chat is dropping all the links for all of the show. We keep every time you say a show, I'm gonna shout her out real quick because every time you were saying any podcast or a book or whatever, she's been dropping the links, finding it and putting the links in the chat. So.
Nice. Buy her a cup of coffee.
Yeah, really. Yeah, take care of Sweets. She takes care of us. She does that on all the shows and stuff and tries to help spread it. And she'll share all the posts and share
Shout out to
everybody's
Sweets.
posts.
Cheers.
So, yeah, for sure.
We've covered a lot of ground here this evening. We've probably really confused people. We've been jumping from topic to topic.
No, they're. I think they're used to it. I'm real. We've always been real ADD of just jumping from.
We got to keep moving fast, moving from one thing to the next.
You know, and like we said at the very beginning, it all kind of connects back. It kind of comes back together a lot of times. When you all look at the big picture and but it's good to talk about everything and kind of give little tidbits, you know, and in that way, you know, if they like to chat and stuff like that, wants to, you know, hear more in depth of one subject, you know, maybe we could.
They can go down a rabbit hole and dig into it.
Yeah, we could do that and do that one subject or something. You know, that's the fun part. You know, it's the
Ricky. What happened with the Deagle report? Remember 2025? The thing was everything. 2/3 of America and the UK was supposed to be dead by by 2025. Remember that? And then was the Deagle report, because I was talking about that, I think at the tail end of my show a long time ago, that was being predicted, and maybe was the whole Deagle report a psyop? What does the chat think?
Yeah, that's a good question. I want to see what they say, but yeah, I think. Well,
because I think we're still here right now, aren't we today?
We are here.
Maybe.
Even though I didn't get any little sticker in my arm, I had my boss at work. He was nervous because he come by, and I had the president of our company come by one day. He's a big guy. He's where I used to work. He's like 6'8", like 300 pounds, you know, big, huge guy. And he turned around and he was like, you know, when y'all having your little huddle ups and talking, y'all need to be talking about vaccines. And I'm like, oh, we do, but you don't want to hear what we got to say about it. And he looked at me, his eyes got big, and his head went down, and he walked out the door and left.
Oh boy!
And I told my immediate supervisor, and he was talking about it, and I was like, look, I'm gonna tell you straight up. And I said, this group right here will back me. And they were all standing right there. I was like, if y'all mandatory it, you just gonna have to get you another crew. This whole crew's done. And he was just petrified, like, oh, and I'm like, nothing. If y'all mandatory this crap, I was like, we're gone. I'll go do something else. And which one of the owners, luckily, they had like 4 owners, and one of the owners was like, Ricky, I just didn't believe in it. He said he was the only one that held back and kept us from all of us having to do it. And then, of course, a couple years later, we had the president come out and apologize for how crazy everything got and everything. But
I think we lose sight of how crazy it was during that time. I mean, it was wild, right?
them old videos are ridiculous. You know, I had a boss that was bleaching his dash every day, and because of it, and he
I knew
come up.
people that were bleaching their groceries when they brought them in before they brought them in the house, wipe them down with the Clorox bleach wipes.
I see the video where somebody was spraying their food as it, as it coming out like McDonald's or something like that. It's like I told him that he was like,
How
man,
about the kids that were playing in band and doing recitals and stuff in the
that was
bubbles, or
terrible.
they
Them
had to
poor
have
kids.
yeah.
Them poor kids. I know. I told him he was somebody. He's like, man, I can only eat sandwiches. I was like, why can you only eat sandwiches? He's like, what the hell? You on some diet? And he's like, no, I can't go out to eat nowhere. I was like, look, if you are worried about your food, there's somebody touches your food all the way down the line. If you go to frozen food place, you probably don't want to go there. I guarantee you don't want to go walk around what's going on in the lines. I was like, everywhere down the line, somebody's touching the food at some point anyway. I was like, it is what it is. I never stopped traveling. I traveled for fights. It was a pain in the ass. It really was because of the whole restrictions and stuff. We never stopped training. We had to close the gym for a couple weeks because of, but we actually just came to my house, and I had mats, and I had punching bags, and I had a volleyball net. We used it to duck under, and I had a big tractor tire that we flipped, and we kept running, and we kept training, and I remember my boss he seen a video of it one day, and he cussed me out, and I told him, I said, look, these are the people I've been around all this time. Like, if we grapple, we punch each other, we're within inches of our face all the time. I was like, if they got something, I probably got something already anyway. It is what it is. I mean, I'm not stopped training. I'm not doing this. Stop doing this because of the cold. You know.
Well, think about, like you were mentioning, just the old videos and stuff of the just lunacy that was going on, right? We could list 1,000 things that were going on that were just like, wow, that was happening during that time. The resounding thing to me is there's been no accountability. It's just all been swept under the rug, and none of the answers to all the questions we all have ever been answered. And then everybody's okay with that. It really is like trauma-based mind control, where you compartmentalize what happened in that time and just put it away. And I'm not even going to think about it anymore. Not saying I do that, but that's what I think a lot of people have done. And just, you could remind them of things and go, oh yeah, I forgot that happened. Or I totally blocked out that was going on back then. They really did a number on everybody.
They did. And the really thing that always, one of the big things that upset me was like the people at the hospital and stuff. And my mom got sick during that time a little bit, and they wouldn't let us in the hospital. And I'm like, if something happens to my mom and they won't let us, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I might Frank Castle this whole damn place. I don't know.
Well, think about the families that didn't get to say goodbye to their loved ones during that time. Yeah.
Exactly. That was
terrible. I mean, that's a crime that should be dealt. I mean, like I said, there's a real example you just gave there. All the things they wouldn't let people do. How about when they, wasn't it Ronald McDonald House and some of the other children's hospitals that wouldn't give treatment to kids unless they got vaccinated, and all those variations? We won't do a surgery. We won't do a transplant. And that's being done by the people that are supposed to have the knowledge of what's going on. So I have no respect for any of the people that went along with it like that. I mean, and they've never been held accountable. I always tell people. So the story is, as we sit here today, kind of the official story of BS, that they just kind of let go off and let people argue about forever, is it came out of the Wuhan lab, right? That's one of the things that they tell us. And we all know what that Wuhan lab looked like because they show pictures of it all the time. I can still remember it in my eye. But we all grew up in a time that if it really was the Wuhan lab that created the bioweapon that got released either intentionally or by accident from that site and shut down the economy, changed the world as we know it, changed society as we know it forever. We're still dealing with the day, crashed the economy, all those different things that it did. You mean to tell me we didn't wake up one morning and the news says overnight coalition forces took out the site, the Wuhan lab where the bioweapon that did all these things was created and leaked from, and they show you it being blown up on national television and playing it on a loop like they do all these other things. I mean, look at the interactions of weaponry that has gone on just with the Iran stuff and the UK Russia stuff in the last just 12 months, right? All the stuff that we see. They love to show you all their bombs and missiles and everything the military industrial complex has at a moment's notice. And they react within days or hours to this happened. So now we're doing this, right? We could play out the last 12 months where we've seen that. Yet the biggest thing in our lifetime that changed everything, the Wuhan lab where it supposedly started from and was released from, we didn't do anything with that. We certainly didn't blow it up. We didn't invade a country. We didn't go to war with them. We didn't do any of those things. It's just kind of gone. And the last I heard it, Rand Paul was putting some special committee together to really get to the bottom of it and figure out what was going on with that. And that was a year ago or whatever it was. And that's now gone and been buried and put out in the backyard. So that was the biggest tell for me. I always remind people, did you ever see that site get blown up and obliterated, and then the satellite sites where they did other stuff from? No, you didn't, because it's all a scam. Use discernment, use some common sense.
Absolutely. Ron Paul did get, I think it was Ron Paul actually went on Joe Rogan and was talking about it, and he said him and RFK, but
Ron Paul or Rand Paul, his son?
Rand Paul was actually, and was on there and he was talking about RFK he's been working with him, and they've been really trying, but he's getting pushback, and they're not letting him do anything. And the whole Fauci getting pardoned all the way back into 2014 is like, what in the hell? How do you get pardoned for something that you haven't even it's just showing there's absolute criminality going on if they're going to pardon somebody for something that maybe he did, maybe he didn't. And
yet they go in the dead of the night and pick up Maduro from Venezuela and bring him here to be accountable for whatever they say he's doing or did or was going to do. Yet you have these people running around all over the place that we see examples of them doing right here on our soil. And they, everybody loves to use that as an example with the Epstein thing. So they go get Maduro and bring him here for accountability and whatever scam that is going on with that deal. But any of the people that were actually doing the acts in the Epstein situation, the guys that actually had relations and abused the girls, those people are all walking around. Why don't they go round those guys up with special forces and bring them to New York and parade them around? I think that's a rhetorical question.
Yeah, way too powerful. But, so though Bill Clinton was supposed to go testify yesterday and he didn't show up. I think Hillary was supposed to today. I never did see if she did or not. I'm glad she didn't.
It's all theater, all kabuki theater.
It is. All of it's just a show, and it's another distraction for everything else they're about to do. The whole Venezuela takeover, BS going on right there, but all of it's unnerved me though, because it's all happening very, they're throwing stuff at us at a faster rate. Lucy's like, you get
there's quickening happening with a lot of things. Yeah,
the 15 minutes of, at least you have 15 minutes of this. Now it's like 3 minutes of it, and because you got Venezuela going on right now, and the protesters don't even know how to keep up with what they're supposed to be protesting. I think right now.
And really, we don't know if any of the footage or information we're seeing coming out of anything, including our own country, is real or AI. I think the AI has been used against us for a long time without knowledge of it. And it just didn't come out in the last 12 months or 24 months.
Absolutely. I think even, I remember when they first, like with 9/11 and stuff, and they were like, they were talking about the planes and stuff like that. And it was like, well, it was a hologram. It was a hologram. I was like, man, that's just crazy. That's one of them things. And then I'm like,
it's a little more believable now, right?
It's a little more believable now. Like, wait a minute, we got these drones that can look like all kinds of stuff. I was like, maybe
it's like somebody says, by the time they give it to the masses, either for free or for a small monthly fee, the real technology is, decades down the road. That's just a toy for the masses to play with, bread and circuses, right?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, all this stuff going on. There's something going, like we were talking about earlier with Iran, with the all the stuff going on with the the sky's clear, no planes are going over. You got Russia pulling all this emissaries out of the embassy there in
Has anything
Israel.
popped off since we've been on the air last couple hours?
I haven't looked. I didn't have
Do you
nothing
have the
pulled up.
technology to check a live update?
I do. We can
I'm
see
not
what's
touching
going on.
anything on my system over here.
It should be okay, but you never know. That's interesting. They kicked off a Skymaster, a Master Air Power readiness drill. They wouldn't do anything during a drill or nothing.
Oh, no.
Never, never, never. Iranian television showing them shooting off missiles. That'll be good.
And I had heard there was a bunch of people were hearing jets and sonic booms all around Iran and Iraq and the surrounding areas, like something was kicking off.
I keep seeing this. I knew it like Verizon was offline today with like internet and stuff, cell phone service, and there's a lot of people thinking they're trying to block something big going to happen, so they're trying to knock out servers right now.
I think it's interesting.
All major
I
cities.
think it's interesting. All this air power, all these conflicts are going on, and there's obviously things happening in the air. And you have all these missiles flying and planes and all these things. Yet above all of that, those chemtrail planes are spraying every place, even over war zones or countries where all these conflicts are going on. How do they get clearance to fly that stuff? And why aren't they dealing with that stuff? That's an interesting question.
Mm-hmm. And if you notice, like during like government shutdowns, all the chemtrails disappeared.
That's what they say. They all stopped, right? I think we were just all imagining that.
And then the government started going, and all of a sudden they came back.
It came back instantaneously.
Just a coinkydink. That's what my.
Just a coincidence. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, just a coincidence. It's just a little coinkydink, Man, it's truly if more people woke
Well,
up
the
and
message
look
is we could go on for hours talking about all the bad stuff that's going on, but on a personal level, just to remind everybody, it's okay if we can't fix all these things, and you have to keep going. We have to endure. Me, you, everybody listening, and don't throw in the towel. Your life matters, and if you feel like you've lost hope, tell somebody and work on making it better. You can make it better.
Oh, for sure.
If we can't fix all the world problems, at least we can try to do better in our own lives, in our own, spheres of influence in our families and things like that. And I always tell everybody, I have to remind myself of that every day, sometimes multiple times a day, because things aren't always a piece of cake.
No, for sure. Lucy at the end of the show on Wednesdays, I show a bunch of feel-good videos. You got time to watch some feel-good videos with us?
Let's do it.
Yeah, I like doing that. Because sometimes, the show gets dark, sometimes because all the stuff going on, and then
I hope we didn't bring everybody down too much this evening.
I think we brought some people up, especially with your story, and I think we brought a bunch of people. And Karen wants me to play your song. We'll do that too for sure.
Never give up. That's the moral of the story. Never give up.
No. Yeah, I like.
Get those cats an Instagram page, will you?
For sure. Here's one.
Why's she crying? Why's she crying?
Oh, because you got a ball and she didn't.
Oh, she need a ball? Let's find her a ball. Jimmy, I can get a ball? Hey, let me get one. Let me get one. Mason.
Oh.
You welcome. Yes, ma'am.
Pretty good. He made her little day.
He saved the day.
Mm-hmm. And this one here video is pretty cool. This poor old guy, this poor truck.
Only in South Bend, it must have a good motor in it.
It's going to sit there.
Rolling. We had a pickup truck debacle in our family recently. Man, car trouble can be a real pain.
His poor truck right here.
That's beyond car trouble, I think. You tweet that out or retweet that, and I want to share that. I got to share that with my mom and a couple people tonight.
Yeah. I mean,
That's a good one. I mean, there's an example right there, man. Simple things, people helping each other.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just there's still a lot of people. Man, there's bad people, and there are some bad people. There's a lot of good people still in this world that would help people or just do whatever. And forget social media, because social media, is, like I said,
There's a good
it's
example
devil.
of social media doing some good, though, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure, absolutely. This one's pretty cool. This is an 81-year-old grandma. Her grandson taught her how to play Minecraft, and now she has a stream, and but she's raising money for her grandson's cancer treatment. So
What? Yeah. What are you? What are you? You weird thing. What is that thing? Oh, that's that turtle, I bet. I don't need the turtle. Not now. I'll come back to you, buddy. What? That's that hole that I dug. Whoa! No! I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you. I'm gonna get you. Sorry. I'm going to make it to the nether. I'm going to need diamonds. Oh, my goodness. Oh! What?
So people log in just to watch her playing that?
that's it. There's a lot
That's
of
pretty
streamers.
funny.
That's all they do is watch other people play video games. It's wild.
I remember Gary Vee talking years ago about the future is going to be people just watching people play video games online. I just didn't even understand it.
It's amazing. It's really amazing how many millions of people just sit back and watch other people play video games. It's wild.
I guess in that one, it's doing some good for her grandson.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's some positive in it too. This one here is pretty cool. This is a good man right here. If he's gonna get out in this snow and cold, do what he's about to do.
Where's this at? Do we know?
I don't know. He's lost his shoe.
Was there a little snowman there?
Yeah, a little snowman on the
He's
corner
moving
there.
it so he doesn't run it over.
Uh-huh. That's a pretty good snowman put together, because it held together and he picked it up. There you go. Jump back into the...
And he's got no idea he's being recorded, I guarantee.
Uh-huh.
It's like a Ring camera or something, right?
Heart.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing about them cams they get on people's houses and stuff. The bad things, they can tap into them.
Well, they say Flock just bought Ring or partnered with them, so all those government cameras and security cameras and traffic cameras, they're all part of one system now, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's another topic for another show. We won't bring this one.
Yeah, Palatine and shit.
Yeah.
This one's pretty cool. A father dressed up as Spider-Man to surprise his son on his birthday, for him congratulating him for bravely fighting cancer every day.
A little bit further.
Hey, is that Jaden? Are you Jaden? Man, it's good to see you, buddy. How are you? That's so cool, man. How are you? Good? Having a good birthday? That's awesome, little dude. Did you get my message? Mom, Dad, did you get my message?
Yes. Daddy's at the shop.
No way.
I saw you on TV.
That's so cool. Give me a hug, buddy. It's good to see you, man.
That would have freaked me out seeing him come off the roof there. He was pretty mellow.
He was kind of unsure at first, but yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, think about as we as adults go through struggles with health issues, cancer, all the other things, economic problems, put them all in there, and then having a little kid have to go through those things, right?
Yes, it's hard. I know it's hard on the parents, and it's like, man, I've seen them and talked to them, and it was like, man, put it on me, put that burden on me. Don't do it on my child, kind of thing. It's rough. It really is. This one's a fun one. This ain't a... YouTube gonna get me on the music.
What's he got, a drill there or something?
Yeah, he's got a little drill and a.
Oh, there you go. That was the What was that? The Jackass theme plan?
Yeah. Heck yeah.
He needs more power. Get a stronger drill. Fire
Yeah,
that
no
thing
doubt.
up.
Yeah, there's a little weight. There's a little weight there for the two of them.
What's going on this one?
This girl's somebody's staring at her and she doesn't like it, but she's a little Scottish girl, and her accent's just great. It's funny.
Boogie.
Bogies.
Boogies. Who you what? Who you staring at? Who are you? Just staring at me like this. Who you looking at? What's she actually looking at anyway? I know she's looking at me, so I'm looking back at her. And she better stop that right now. Okay.
That little accent, that's hilarious.
It's like Bono meets Liam Gallagher meets Ozzy.
Yeah. I seen this. I shared this on my Facebook the other day, a while back. I mean, on my Twitter. Just grab pool noodles.
You guys train like that at the gym?
No, I never. I know some that do that. Where they use it for dodging, not just beating. I bet if I bought some though, my kids would beat them to each other.
That's pretty funny.
I got some little blocker pads they beat each other up with, and I got a one of them dummies where you can. It's full of clothes and stuff like that, and they beat that thing up. It's hilarious.
You think those are real? You think that's staged?
I think it's real.
Yeah. That looks pretty real.
Yeah, I think it's real. Because people do that. I mean, we're all big kids, no matter what.
There was one guy I used to see on YouTube. He would like go into the hood and like go up to people and say like, "Hey, you want some? You want some of this? You want some of this?" And like really egg them on. And then they would like get ready to fight him, and he would like bust out a bag of chips. "You want some chips, man?" And people would like. There's some guys that really got gangster on them. It was pretty good. I haven't seen that guy in a long time.
There might be a reason.
Yeah,
there might be a reason. I forget what this.
You ever see Ed Bassmaster on YouTube?
I had not.
Oh, you got to check out, anybody listening, you got to check out Ed Bassmaster. He's got some good ones. He's got a couple characters, and he just really eggs people on. He's got some good ones.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah. Cover her eyes so she didn't see the toy store.
Yep, I remember that, heading down there with any Christmas winnings or something like that. When you're able to go to the toy store, get a new remote control car or something like that. We had KB Toys. That's where we went, and Toys R Us. Yeah. Right.
Man, the kids nowadays they missing a lot.
They don't know what they're missing.
They're missing a lot of stuff.
Hey, there's your cat.
Yeah, this one might be AI. I don't know. It could be.
That's amazing.
Dogs have masters. Cats have staff. That's the difference. Dogs fetch the ball. Cats watch you throw it and think, wow, you need hobbies. Dogs love you unconditionally. Cats love you conditionally, and the conditions are a secret they will never share. Dogs are loyal. Cats are negotiators. You scratch my chin, maybe I don't shred your couch today. Dog.
I think that's AI, dude.
It might be AI, but I think I can see them thinking that though. That's some of them. James always talks about there are alien overlords. That actually the cats are.
That could be, man.
I thought this was pretty cool. Japan has a new station master cat for the railway. They have a feline station master at it. This one is a new appointee here.
Blow that up big, can you?
Oh, the Tesla extender. It should work.
Little
Maybe.
extra horsepower there.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Man, you're dialed into your X. I don't spend that much. I've been off of these things for so long. I don't spend too much time, but you're dialed in with these. These are good.
Yeah, I have fun with it. A lot of times, and then as soon as I get on here, like as soon as we get done, I'll find a couple more. I was like, man, I could have showed them. You know, it's. I've been lucky. I put my. I share so many of them and stuff. I save so many now that it does show me a bunch of these, and I know everybody like they enjoy the animal videos because it's.
There's one I'll tweet it to you after here or whatever the term is now. It's all about animals. I think it's all just like feel good stuff, but it's a good one. You might not have seen it. I can't remember what the name of it is, but I'll send it to you. You got to check that one out. There's a lot of good stuff on there.
Oh, nice. That'd be awesome. They keep talking about raccoons, or they're just a fully domesticated. Won't be long, a few more years, and
can they turn the corner? Oh, look at that with the dog. Wow. They've got those claws though, don't they?
They do. They do have them claws. That's why I've never messed with them. I mean, we had a whole bunch of them in a dumpster at work one time, and
were they friendly like this?
These raccoons! Look at these raccoons! And I turned around with the other direction. I was like, hey, "You ain't eating my face today."
That's pretty wild. They're buddies.
The cat's like, "What are you doing?"
Dude, why don't you bring a raccoon into the mix over there?
It probably will come up. My mom had a one time. At my old place, I had a raccoon on my porch. He was coming to eat. It was funny. I jumped up. I heard something. I turned around, and it was a huge. He had to have been 30 pounds or more, but he was trying to hide behind my rain gutter, like that was hiding him. Like, yeah, I don't see you, buddy.
So he was where he was trying to hide.
Yeah, he's right there on my porch, but he was eating the cat. I had outside cats over there, and he was eating my cat food. That's when they making a little bed for the cat.
Dude, this could be your whole show. You should just go live every night and just share animal videos. Don't need to talk conspiracy.
Yeah, I could probably go viral doing that. I'm sure.
Just do commentary.
Yeah, I guarantee you I could go viral doing that.
Might be better for the stress level, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that dog realizes that that's not a dog. Yeah, I'm watching you. I don't know who this puppy is, but you better play nice. Hey, no growling over here. Where's your manners? That's right.
What is that?
Think about your actions. Come here, buddy. Come here. It's okay. I got you. I won't let the coyote eat you. Come on, run with me. Let's go. Come on. That's right. Pick on someone your own size.
Man, I'll tell you, that's frightening.
Yeah.
Is your home back that way? Where's your house? All right, let's figure out where your house is. 3. Recompensa. All right, let's go back this way while we're waiting. Hey, do you want to get eaten? Come here. Come on. Your parents are coming for you. Yeah, so it looks like your parents want me to take you to the main entrance of this little neighborhood. You went on an adventure today. You're not even from this neighborhood because the main entrance is not close to here. Okay, come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. No. This way. Come on. Come on. There we go. Oh, now you can run fast? Not when the coyote was chasing you? Okay, you are pretty cute. Let's go. Good boy.
Man, I wouldn't be doing any of that.
2 kilometers to go.
We had somebody walking their dog in the neighborhood, and the coyotes came up and took him off the leash and took him away, never to be seen again. It was horrifying.
You're welcome.
I had some.
Bye.
I was renting some land. And, a friend of mine he had put a camper on it.
That's the only one I don't like of the mix here. I like the dog made it out alive, but man, that's dangerous.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Translated to English.
Yeah. I had some land. A buddy of mine, he's like, "Can I get chickens?" I'm like, "I don't care, man. Whatever you want to do." He was renting a little spot, and he had it right against his camper, and then he pulled his camper out for whatever reason, and he tore up the thing, and we were building a bigger pen, but he wasn't done with it, and he put the chickens in the big pen, and man, something come in there that night and got them all. It was like just terrible.
Yeah, that goes south on you real quick.
It does. This little girl here is pretty cute.
I'm over. Tim! 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 Tim!
Man, that brings back memories. When we were kids going down the interstate in Chicago, you'd have a semi come up next to you, do that, you get the horn. I mean, that's good times.
Oh yeah. Wait a minute. This thing just Twitter does that every once in a while. It just pops up and just goes crazy on you.
Playing some buckets.
Yeah, this one's pretty. This one's got pretty cool. He got. I don't know if we get caught on the music.
It's original audio.
That guy in the background, like, yeah.
They're jamming, man. I've seen those guys in the subways in New York and Chicago.
Yeah,
Always good to see some guys jamming on the buckets. Give them some dough.
Yeah.
Buy them a coffee.
Oh, he's gonna come help.
The power of music, man, to bring people together. There it is.
Absolutely.
Dude, here's the guy you need to follow on Instagram. Can you see that one? That little dude. Up in Wisconsin. Him and his crew. That's the guy to follow. I check in with him every day. He talks, and you've never heard anything like it before when they get him talking when he's running around the farm and stuff. It's good.
Oh, wow.
That's the one I'm following. That's my recommendation to everybody. Check him out. Spicer Jack Jack.
Spicer Jack Jack. Hell yeah. You're giving everybody a lot of stuff to watch and listen to.
He's the cutest little guy, man. I love that little guy. Dude, I had a good time hanging out tonight, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. It's been fun. Oops.
We got to do it again sometime. Really get into some conspiracy. We just kind of touched the peripheral this evening.
Heck yeah.
You got to have your people get back to you. What do they think on the Deagle report? That one just kind of fell off a cliff, and we haven't heard about it before yet. It was supposed to be this big thing.
Absolutely.
People were supposed to be annihilated, dropping all over the place. Yeah, I had heard. I was always following that one, and then I heard, a lot of people started talking about that whole thing was a psyop that they rolled out for a very specific reason. But that's another topic for another show.
Absolutely. I'd love to have you come back anytime, and we can.
Anytime, man. Anytime. I'd love it.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been awesome. I want to play. I want to play your song if you don't mind.
Oh, sure, man. Which one are we jamming?
To them, we're all the same.
Do it. I have the studio version of that one coming out in a couple of weeks, but the acoustic version's out there. If it speaks to people, share it with everybody you know. Pick up a copy on iTunes. Buy the song for 99 cents. A couple thousand people get that song. It'll hit the charts, and the messaging in there will have to be dealt with. People will have to say, what's that guy talking about? Why is it so popular? Why is it spreading? It only takes a couple thousand people. That's my message.
Absolutely.
If it speaks to you.
Yeah. We can make a difference.
I walk down the lonely road and leave old friends behind. 'Cause I spoke out against the left and I spoke out against the right. No one sees both sides are the same. No one sees that we're all being played. We get all the rights we need before we get our names. And they take your life, and they take your love, and they take your gun, and they take your son, and ship them off to fight another war. Built on lies that serve those whores that keep us on chains. Red, black, and white, yellow, brown, have you heard? To them we're all the same. A young man said the ones to blame reside in D.C. But all those fools are puppets on string for the ones that we don't see. Laws of the land that always change, can't rise above what God gave. We get all the rights we need before we get our names. And they take your life, and they take your love, and they take your gun, and they take your son, ship them off to fight another war. Built on lies that serve those whores that keep us on chains. Red, black, and white, yellow, brown, have you heard? To them we're all the same. To them we're all just slaves. To them we're all just here to get by and drink to survive and work till we die and don't ask why. Here to get by and work till we die and don't ask why. I walk down a lonely road and I leave everyone behind. Then I saw an old friend in town and we stopped and we talked for a while. He said, now I see both sides are the same. Now I see that we're all being played. We get all the rights we need before we get our names. And they take your life, and they take your love, and they take your gun, and they take your son, and ship them off to fight another war. Built on lies that serve those whores that keep us on chains. Red, black, and white, yellow, brown, have you heard? Red, black, and white, yellow, brown, have you heard? No, red, black, and white, yellow, brown, we all bleed red, so don't lie down. Get off of your knees and stand up proud today. To them we're all just here to get by and drink to survive and work till we die and don't ask why. Here to get by and drink to survive and walk till we die. And don't ask why. Here to get by, stay stoned to survive and walk till we die. And don't ask why. To them we're all the same. Now you know, spread the word.
Yeah. That's awesome.
There it is, man. Thanks for rolling that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
That's the raw acoustic version, man. I recorded that in the side of the road up in Monument Valley, Utah, a couple months ago.
Didn't you do like a one? I think I seen the video. You just did it like one take. You just pulled over and
I pulled over off the side of the road. So this is a good spot. Let's record this thing real quick because I planned on doing the studio version shortly thereafter. I said this is a beautiful spot. I'm just doing this right here, and there it is.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
You listen closely, you can hear the cars driving by and whizzing. Sounds like TIE fighters in the background whizzing through there. But it was a good moment, good video. Yeah, it's a good spot. A bunch of tourists came around, and there was a crew from Germany hanging around, dancing in front of me there. It was pretty cool. You don't see that on the camera, but they were there. It was cool.
Oh, that's awesome. That's what makes it feel good. I understand why musicians do what they do because I like singing karaoke. I ain't the greatest singer, but I like having fun and
very powerful, magical thing.
Yeah, like you see the crowd get into it and they start dancing and having fun and my favorite karaoke song was the story was I'll tell this fun thing real quick and we'll get out of here. It was I was downtown Memphis and I walked in and my buddy was singing and he's Little Shirley's boy on TikTok. He does a bunch of funny videos. He's a comedian. He's hilarious. And he sang Michael Jackson. And after him, I was
what tune?
Right after. And I was like, well, I'm gonna do Somebody by Prince. And this large lady jumped up in the back of this room and was like, "What did you?" and yelled at me. "What did you say?" I said, "I'm gonna sing Prince." I said just like that, just being silly, Next thing I know, this whole big group at the table was up in the front of the stage with me. And next thing, after that, they were up on the stage with me dancing. They had this big guy was like 6'6". He grabbed like a air blowed up guitar and was playing the guitar, like he was playing the guitar, and they just had a ball. It was one of the moments like that's cool, like everybody coming together, for music and.
What song did you sing?
Purple Rain.
Purple Rain. Is there footage of that somewhere on the World Wide Web that we could refer to?
There is a Facebook. I have to see if I can find it and I can rip it or something like that. There is a footage of where I went to another place and sang it, and they recorded me.
Is Purple Rain your jam? That's the one you do?
I like it. I like that. Turn the Page. I listen to all music. Turn the Page is loose. Like if I go somewhere I don't know how the sound equipment is, I know I can sing it without. So I check out the sound. Like Lucy, Turn the Page, but I sing a little.
You're
bit
in Memphis. You do any of the King and any Elvis from time to time?
Sometimes. Yeah.
Littlest Conversation.
Yeah.
Have you been to Graceland?
I have not. I lived 5 minutes from it when I was a kid, but I drove by it and waved at it, but I just never been up there. Just when you live in Memphis and you're born in Memphis, it's not the same. You're not like it's how's Elvis. I've been to Sun Studios and all that. But
yeah, music is a powerful thing, man. It can be used like anything. It can be used for good or bad.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But let me hit the outro and we'll get out of here. I appreciate it, sir.
Brother, thanks for having me, man, and thanks for everybody that tuned in tonight. I really appreciate it and I'm grateful.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's do it again sometime.
Oh, no doubt.
Shackles, don't want no shackles on me. Don't want no shackles. Don't want no shackles on me. I sit down with Big Brother. Don't like those RFIDs. Got the blues about my freedom. Got the blues about tyranny. I got the blues about my freedom. Got the blues about tyranny. I sat down with Big Brother and the national ID. Don't want a chip in my wallet, chip in my car. And if I want to travel, it's nobody's business how far. Don't want no shackles. Don't want no shackles on me. I said shame on Big Brother, always tracking and tracing me. Don't want a chip in my mother, chip in my wife, a chip in my babies. Stay out of our life. Don't want no shackles. Don't want no shackles on me. I sat down with Big Brother. No more slavery. Play it for me, baby. Now, do you want a chip in your forehead, a chip in your arm, always tweaking your brain and causing you harm? Don't want no shackles. Don't want no shackles on me. I sat down with Big Brother in the good old USA. I sat down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother. Don't want a spy chip in me. Everybody, I sat down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother, down with Big Brother. It's all about liberty.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.